Tiger fans all know that the battles of October will begin for them with the Bulldogs of South Carolina State. Jackson's coach James Carson knows that he has to match game plans with one of college football's best, South Carolina State's coach Willie Jeffries. And it's no secret that while defense wins games, it's offense that puts the fans on the edge of their seats, especially at the Coca-Cola Circle City Classic. It was 10 years ago that this event began with one of the highest scoring games ever. Coach Eddie Robinson brought his Grambling Tigers, and he brought them to the Classic in grand style. In the corner, Nicholas, he has a touchdown. But it was the gunslinger, Mississippi Valley coach Archie Cooley with his high-scoring, no-huddle offense that stole the show. They had the blitz on. Rice has it. Rice at the 45, 40. Jerry Rice, 62 yards, touchdown. Mississippi Valley defeated Grambling 48-36 and will always remember the game's MVP, Jerry Rice.
BET Sports presents
was the scene earlier today in downtown Indianapolis. And maybe you know who this guy is. He certainly is not Santa Claus. But the Circle City Classic kicked off its festivities with the parade, and now we go to the Hoosier Dome in downtown Indianapolis for the 10th annual Circle City Classic, as the Tigers of Jackson State host the Bulldogs of South Carolina State. Hello again, everyone. Charlie Neal, my partner, Lem Barney. And for 10 years, we have been here, Lem Barney. And I'll tell you, it gets more exciting, more crowds each and every year, and the festivities just gets bigger and better than ever.
No question about that, Charlie. And to you, happy 10th anniversary.
We're really enjoying it. Well, let's talk a little bit about the game and what we plan to see today. First of all, you have the South Carolina State Bulldogs, Coach Willie Jeffries. They've lost a couple in a row. Of course, they've got to get back on the winning track. They're going to have to do something offensively to get back on the winning track. They have a 5-year losing streak right here on BET. They play excellent defense, but they're going to have to move the ball offensively. Last week, they managed only 98 total yards, maybe the worst offensive production in 25 years. They're going to have to rely on their quarterback, Marvin Marshall, today to put some points on the board. We'll probably see them throw it a little more.
I think so, Charlie. As you mentioned, that the offense has been a bit inept in the last few games. In fact, the last 3 ball games, they've only completed 1 pass, speaking of Marvin Marshall, the quarterback. But he's a tough little quarterback, Charlie. He's got scrambling capabilities, but Jackson State have a tough, stingy defense.
When you talk about South Carolina State, Jackson State, on the other hand, here's a team that's coming off of a tie against Mississippi Valley a week ago. They played to a 7-7 tie. You know, they have a pretty good defense, too, but they're going to be very well tested today as far as their offense, whether they'll have the ability to move the ball or not, depending on whether Ricky Jordan has a great game or not.
He is the key, Charlie, as you mentioned. Ricky Jordan, the starting quarterback for the Jackson State Tigers. He's a bit banged up, Charlie. He has a right knee that's a bit banged up that he suffered during the Mississippi Valley State contest. The center is also a little banged up. But as you mentioned, I'm looking for a whale of a defensive ball game.
It should be a good one. I know who you like. I don't even have to ask.
But I'm going to be calm, Charlie.
I've got the parachute on Lem Barney, the Jackson State grad. Should be a whale of a ball game. 10th anniversary here in Indianapolis, Indiana. And, of course, 2 fine schools, an intersectional matchup. MEAC, they have decided losing edge in this classic against SWAC schools. We'll be back. Today's game is brought to you by Coca-Cola. Coke, always a good call, always Coca-Cola. And by Campbell's Soup. Campbell's, never underestimate the power of soup. Charlie Neal, Lem Barney. 10th annual Circle City Classic. Jackson State will get the opening kickoff to start this one. As you look at the South Carolina State team. They're the visitors today in their white jerseys. And you're looking at Matt Young, the junior out of Fort Mill, South Carolina, who will be doing the kicking off for the Bulldogs of South Carolina State. Jackson State, their deep man, LaShawn Osmer, is the man number 6 on the far side. Or he's the man basically in the middle of the field. And this one is underway. It's a onside kick. Coach Jeffries tries some razzle-dazzle early. South Carolina State has it. And taking it down the field for South Carolina State, number 6 is Kevin Pope. And some early hijinks for the Bulldogs of South Carolina State as they come off with the razzle-dazzle early in the contest. They kicked off onside kick by Matt Young. They recover the ball after travel the necessary 10 yards distance, and Pope puts them in good field position. They say he may have ran out of bounds at about the 48-yard line, but nevertheless, it's South Carolina State's ball as we look at their offense. Greg Middleton, Shield, Blanchard, Carter, who we thought would not play because of a serious injury last week, is back in the starting lineup, along with Ford. The receivers are Craig Miller and Solomon, and Sanders and Manigault are the backs. Manigault, the up back. In the eye, the pitch. Actually, this is Michael Hicks, number 4, getting the carry, and Hicks is knocked out of bounds, but not before he gains yards down to the 45 of Jackson State. It'll be 2nd down and about 3 after a 7-yard gain. Coach Willie Jeffries, 21st year as a head coach. They may even see him throw it on 1st down. He said they're going to try everything today. They've got to break out of the jinx that they've had. They lost to Southern. They lost 2 of their last 3 ball games. They lost to Southern a week ago. As you look at the defense of Jackson State, here's Hicks again going through close to the 1st down, about a yard shy, down to about the 43-yard line. Number 90 on the stop defensively is Fernando Smith out of Flint, Michigan, a senior from Northwestern High. As you look at Michael Hicks, coming into the game, averaging 6 yards a carry. 3rd and 1 for South Carolina State. James Carson looking on. Fumble! And a flag also thrown. We may have illegal motion. It's going to be against South Carolina State. Illegal motion.
If they are breaks, that's a good break for Jackson State University. However, it didn't look like the ball carrier had enough.
Well, they actually lost a little bit on the carry, maybe a yard. Now, let's see if the penalty will...
If it's post or free.
Let's see what they do, if they give him an option, because James Carson is saying decline it, of course, and that'll bring up a 4th down, and that will bring up a punting situation, and that would bring on Tim Holmes to do the punting. Paul Holly, our referee.
Decline.
So they took the play. This is split crew once again. Paul Holly is the referee out of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Dwight Pettiford from the MEAC is the umpire. Larry Morrow, the line judge. Ken Dollar, the back judge. Gene Washington, the head linesman. Bill Little is the field judge. Punting situation for Timmy Holmes, who's averaging 37 yards per punt this year. Gets off a great one in the dome. Fair catch called for, probably will not be returned if they can get to it. And it goes into the end zone to be brought out to the 20. Timeout on the field, no score. 1st quarter, 13:57. Pate was the man that was back. The punt covered 44 yards. We'll be back.
Kickoff, a well-executed onside kick. Matt Young kicks it off. Kevin Pope. And the coverage, well-tuned, good play, however, went for naught after 3 plays. They had to turn the ball over because of penalty. Jackson State's ball 1st down and 10 at the 20-yard line.
Let's look at the series between these 2 squads. 3rd meeting. Tigers hold a 2-0 edge last year, 41-3. Jackson State won up in Columbia, South Carolina. And in the Circle City Classic, the SWAC has a 3-0-1 edge. It was a 10-10 tie involving Jackson State and Florida A&M a few years ago. James Carson, a former assistant to Willie Jeffries in South Carolina State, is the student against the pupil. And right now, the student has a 1-0 edge in the series. Ricky Jordan is sacked in the backfield. And coming up with it is a young man who wreaked havoc last week, Anthony Cook, number 78. He wreaked havoc all evening.
He certainly did, Hal. He had an all-pro game, or all-American game last week. versus Southern University in the Georgia Dome. Get a chance to watch it again. Ricky drops back. Protection breaks down on the left side. Cook comes up with the sack. A loss of about 8 yards. Call it 2nd down and 18.
Ricky Jordan, senior out of Flora, Mississippi, running the offense for the James Carson to pitch back on the near side, and number 70 says, no way. I'm not going to let you turn the corner. That was Kershaw Callaway who made the stop defensively. He got some help from number 29.
Charlie, Jackson State is going against the #1 defense in all the nation in South Carolina State. Fine force, fine field, and great containment. As a result, maybe 3-yard gained on the play.
As we look at the offense for Jackson State and their offensive line, it averages 286. Bliss is the tight end with Hampton and Bester, the other receivers and running backs. On 3rd and long.
Got time.
Throws, has it complete to Pate, but is real shy, about 9 yards of a first down, out to the 21-yard line.
Bad call as far as the reception. The route was only for about 6 yards, which he gained after the completion. But again, they needed 14 yards to keep the ball alive to gain the first down and 10. It is good rollout by Ricky. Good throw, good catch combination. But again, for naught, 4th down and about 8, punting situation.
And for Jackson State, Cedric Dunbar, they've used 2 punters this year. He's a freshman out of Fayette, Mississippi. Averaging 33 yards a punt. This one bounces down and takes a bounce in favor of South Carolina State. Finally down on the side of the field, the 50 side of the, I should say the South Jackson State side of the 50. I get it right. Barney at the Circle City Classic, Indianapolis, 10th annual, and we've been here for every one, and we've seen some exciting games.
Indeed we have, Charlie.
South Carolina State with the ball, 1st down and 10. At the 48-yard line. This is their 2nd offensive possession of the afternoon. Manigault, the up back. Michael Hicks is behind him.
Fumble!
And Marshall has to pick it up, and he scampers for about a yard down to the 47, which will bring up a 2nd down and 9. Number 99 defensively there is Corin Sledge, a sophomore out of Tuscaloosa. Central High there. Young man with unlimited potential who's getting the start at the left tackle defensive spot for Jackson State today in place of P. Arthur Edwards.
See what occurred here. Just looked like Marvin Marshall just backed from under the center a bit too quickly. As a result of fumble, he regained possession after a 1-yard gain.
Marshall back to pass. He completed pass weak, and he is sacked back across midfield. Big loss. Fernand leading the charge was Fernando Evans along with Marlo Perry. 90 and 50 respectively. Fernando Smith. 6'6", 284 senior. Watch number 90 work.
Watch the protection break down as Jackson had a blitz on, all-out blitz.
You know, the ironic thing, both of those young men, Smith and Perry, have been invited to play in the Senior Bowl in Montgomery, Alabama.
What an honor.
Or Mobile, Alabama.
What an honor. Draw.
Wide open Hicks.
Good open field tackle.
But he's short of a first down. It stopped at the 41-yard line. It'll bring up a 4th down and about 3.
The artist, Picasso Nelson. Free safety.
I asked him if he'd been in the Sistine Chapel.
Great open field tackle there. Hicks had nothing but running room after the play unfolded. Gaping hole, good draw, well executed again. Minus the necessary yardage for the first down. It's 4th down and about 3, punting situation.
Holmes again, his 2nd punt of the afternoon. The first one covered 44. Pate fair catches it at the 12. That's where Jackson State will go to work for the second time this afternoon at their own 12-yard line. That was a 47-yard punt. 37-yard punt. Make it a 29-yard punt. I'll get it right.
Great crowd on hand for this 10th annual Circle City Classic. A lot of festivities. Had video sold last night. Donnie Simpson and the Funk Master himself were the host and co-host.
I was in the parade today with George. Ricky Jordan, the stats on him this year. He got injured against Alcorn State last year and never really recovered from that injury knee-wise as they keep the ball on the ground. Running to the right side is Maurice Hampton, getting the start today, the sophomore. And he is from Jackson, Mississippi's Murrah High. Came into the game averaging just over 5 yards a carry. Joe Montford on the stop defensively.
Get a chance to see why South Carolina State leads the nation in defense. Good force, good field. Look at the men on the other side of the line of scrimmage. Coming up, forcing, fielding. About 1.5 yards gain. We'll call it 2nd down and 8 to go.
You talk about the #1 defense. They were #1 in the nation last week going into the Southern game. Right now they're ranked #2 in defense nationally, giving up only an average of 147 yards a game.
He's got running room, had running room.
I'll tell you, the big fella came up with a great hand stick to put it in there. I think that was 54.
It was, Charlie.
They came up with it.
Craig James.
Craig James, the nose tackle, came up with a big hand to trip up Ricky Jordan. Let's watch it again. It is 3rd down and 8 yards to go.
Looked like it had materialized. Here it comes right there. With help from number 53 coming in, Joe Mumford to make the stop. Maybe getting back to the line of scrimmage. We'll call it 3rd down and 9. 3rd down and 8 to graphic test.
A lone setback behind the quarterback. And they try to draw, and Craig James has the running back with nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. And that's Maurice Hampton on the carry. 4th down out to the 15-yard line.
I really look forward to seeing a good defensive battle here today, Charlie.
We saw one a week ago.
Indeed we did. Both teams defensively has outstanding linebacker cores. We've yet to call the outstanding linebacker outside the fact you say he's invited to the Senior Bowl in Mobile this year.
Terrible punt.
Certainly is.
Talking about great field position.
What a bounce.
But it gets a Jackson State bounce and it down. It's down at the 43-yard line. That's a 28-yard punt.
You can see why there's been 2 punters thus far this year in 4 ball games. Inconsistency in those punters, as you mentioned. The young man that's taking over the punting chores now, Cedric Dunbar, freshman. Maybe a little pressure on him. Look forward to seeing the pass here by Marshall.
At the 43 of Jackson State, South Carolina State goes to work.
Option.
Back to Hicks. Stiff arms a man and is down inside the 20. To the 19-yard line goes Michael Hicks and a 1st and 10 for South Carolina State. Came up with a big stiff arm and turning the corner. 25 yards, 27 yards on the run. 27, make it. Here it is. I formation option. No force, no feel, no containment. A stiff arm here to Picasso. Yes. Picasso regathers himself, brings him down after a 27-yard scamper. 1st and 10 at the 19-yard line of Jackson State University. Deepest penetration today by either team. Marshall, flag is down. Hicks turns the corner. Inside the 15 to the 10-yard line where he's really hammered. We may have a motion penalty against South Carolina State. Lloyd Connor, Darian Connor's younger brother, who plays for the Falcons, made the stop. Number 43, there he is. Goes against Jackson State. Offsides. Probably lined up offsides. Didn't see any movement. Well, the penalty is declined. South Carolina State will take the play. They'll be looking at 2nd and 1. Here's Hicks. Good blocking at the point of attack for South Carolina State. Again, Jackson is a bit lethargic, coming up, forcing and fielding, and no containment. And they will continue to exploit that until it is corrected. Willie Simon there with Coach Jeffries, former women's basketball coach at Maryland Eastern Shore, returning to the Bulldog country to help out with the offense. 2nd down and 1. Marvin Marshall. Hicks has the 1st down. Inside the 10 to about the 9 or close to the 8-yard line goes Hicks, a very determined runner. He's getting the start in place of Frankie Sanders, who's the 3rd leading rusher at MEAC. Hicks is the 7th leading rusher. He loses a shoe. But nevertheless, it's a 1st down.
First and goal. At the 9-yard line to make it 8.
Manigault and Sanders. Make that Hicks, rather. Timeout called for by Marshall.
Didn't like the defense.
And we'll take a timeout. 6:47 left in the first quarter. No score. But Jackson State is threatening with a first and goal. Make that South Carolina State is threatening. Champagne dancers from South Carolina State. We'll see them at halftime. Meanwhile, this is the 4th play of this drive that started at the Jackson State 43-yard line. They've consumed a minute off the clock, and it's first and goal. Quincy Miller is the man in motion. Option, and Marshall keeps it, cuts back at the 5, is down to the 4. Marvin Marshall, it'll be second and goal at the 4-yard line. Defensive stop by Fernando Smith. South Carolina State started the season with a 38-0 win over Newberry, in which they gained 523 offensive yards. 490 of them came on the ground. They led 17-7 over Florida A&M, but allowed a 97-yard drive in the last 47 seconds, and FAMU scored with 16 seconds to go to win it 21-17. Second down and goal now at the 4. Marshall wants to pass, a fade into the end zone.
Interference.
Well, let's see. Well, the flag has been thrown, so it'll give them a first down. Half the distance to the goal line, especially if Terry Arnold, rather, number 36, was the man back there on defense.
It was, Charlie. As you see, Marshall having problem again, perhaps stepped on by the center, and the young man in coverage, Terry Arnold. Here's the stumble. Center clearly stepped on him as he throws the fade route. The corner covering on the fade. Young man there, Terry Arnold, inadvertently tripped the receiver, but it gives him a first down and goal.
See, I didn't know whether that was incidental contact, so that's why I was wondering if they were going to throw it.
He threw it.
Yeah. Might have been incidental contact, but nevertheless, South Carolina State will take it. They'll run it.
Jumping the jumper.
They jumped the jumper.
Yes, they did.
Did not get in. He was met face to face.
Mano la mano. Afute la afute.
Benji Johnson is the man there, the senior from Oxford, Mississippi.
Here's the ball carrier, Hicks, jumping, and watch the jumper meet the jumper. Good defense there. Fine defense. Virtually no gains. Second down and goal. Benji Johnson on the stop from Oxford, Mississippi.
Second and goal. As you look at Benji. Manigault, the up man in the eye. Hicks is the second back. Marshall fits to Hicks. He's in walk in. Counter touchdown, South Carolina State. Michael Hicks, second rushing touchdown this year. On a 2-yard run.
Michael Hicks doing most of the work on this drive for the score. Received the toss at the 6-yard line and scampers into the end zone untouched as he does a little scooting dance.
That's a 43-yard drive. And for the point after for South Carolina State will be Matt Young. He's only missed one this year, and that is the 14th one he's put through the uprights. And it's a 7-0 game. South Carolina State over Jackson. Let's look at the sweep. The pitch on the option once again.
Well executed again, Charlie. As the defense looks at it, down the line goes the Marshall. The flip after he gets some opposition. Good blocking at the point of attack. Hicks into the end zone for the first score.
5:13 the time remaining in the first quarter. That is the 7th rushing touchdown Jackson State has allowed this year. The 10th rushing touchdown by South Carolina State. And this was a scoring drive that took 6 plays, went 43 yards, and used 2:34 off the clock. And of course, Hicks with his second rushing touchdown of the year. Young man, Barnesville, Georgia. Jackson State cheerleaders. So South Carolina State drawing first blood in this one. They lead it 7-0. We talk about the Circle City Classic and some of the key stats in this game. The average scores have been 50 points. That is between the two teams. We talked about the high scoring game, Mississippi Valley and Grambling in the first one. This is the 10th one. Out to the 25-yard line on the return of the kick.
Good kick coverage by
Arthur
South
Pearson.
Carolina State.
Pearson on the return. So out to the 25-yard line is where Jackson State will start. This is their best field position of the afternoon. They have gotten no further than their own 22 in the previous two drives. This is their third offensive possession. First down and 10. Ricky Jordan wants to go to the air under pressure.
Backside heat.
Up, and he will not get away from number 70, Kershaw Callaway.
Good pressure from the backside. Jackson State's blocking protection on the right side offensively. Gave way to the left side defensively. The play was made by that young man there, Kershaw Callaway. Get a chance to see it again. Semi-roll out to his left. Backside pressure now finally comes in.
Also 42 is in there also. Defensively, Terry Govan.
Loss of a yard.
2nd and 11. Isaiah Bliss is in motion. The misdirection handoff back to the near side. They give it to Hampton, and Hampton scampers out to the 30, a gain of 6. It'll be 3rd down. 3rd and about 5. Here's the stats on Hampton.
Maurice Hampton. Get a chance to see it again. Eye formation, misdirection, starts off to the left, veers it back to the right, picks up a few blockers there. Gains 6 yards on the play, bring up a 3rd down and 5. Here's the way it looks defensively. Good job by the defense, led by number 53, Joe Mumford on the stop.
Almost intercepted after Payton juggled it. Macy Stevens almost had an INT.
Sure you did.
And to bring up a 4th down. That'll bring on the punter.
It would have been clear sailing, Charlie, had he gathered it in. Get a chance to see. Ricky does a good job here, Jordan. 3-step drops, hot pattern. There it is, a little behind the intended receiver. Good thing he came back and played defensive back. Stevens would have been walking into the end zone. 4th down, a punting situation. Not too good a punt again.
Well, there's more distance on it, but I'll tell you, it has not taken any bounces for Jackson State today. It's all gone South Carolina State way as far as the punting is concerned, but they have buried him as a 37-yard punt that time by Dunbar.
We're just about complete with the first quarter with 3 minutes 29 seconds to go. South Carolina State leads 7-0, and Marvin Marshall is yet to attempt a pass.
South Carolina State on offense now for the 4th time from their own 33. They got into the end zone on an offensive possession. The only touchdown they scored last week
again.
was on an interception. Plenty of time for Marshall.
Time is running out. Time keeps on ticking.
The problem is he couldn't find the receiver. And he loses, well, he gets back to the line of scrimmage. That's about it, to the 33. He ran about 37 yards.
They've been having problems
but he'll get nothing on the
throughout the first quarter. Not at all. Throughout the first quarter with the exchange from the center to the quarterback, but alertly again, Marvin recovers, scrambles out to his right, does a little dancing here, nifty footwork. He's an excellent scrambler.
Where are the receivers? See, I worry about what the
receivers They got to come back
doing.
for the ball. They got to come back for the quarterback once they alertly notice that he's in trouble.
What were they doing? On a draw play, here's Hicks into the secondary. Picasso Nelson brings him down, but not before he gets over the 45 to the 47.
Very well conceived play again. A sprint draw. It's almost like a pass or an option. The ball is handed off again once again to number 4, Michael Hicks. Here it is again. gaping hole there at the point of attack. Number 43 could not scrape off the block, and that's in the person of Lloyd Connors. He's got to do a better job of shedding a blocker to get back into the lane where the ball carrier is running.
Stats on Hicks so far: came into the game averaging 6. He's already got 7.1 in this one. Here he goes again out to the midfield stripe, a gain of about 3. Just over the 50-yard line inside of Jackson State territory. Goes to the 49, James Carson, whose defense has recorded 13 sacks this year. That was Benji Johnson you saw leaving the field a moment ago. Second down, 7 yards to go. Back to pass is Marshall.
First pass of the day.
And he's completed one. The first time he's completed one in 3 games. Gain of 3 on the play.
Pass covered for 4 to 5 yards. Again, as Charlie mentioned, they only completed 1 pass last week, and it wasn't the quarterback who threw it.
They did? I didn't know they completed any passes last week.
Halfback option, I believe it was. It was at Southern.
That was Southern.
Southern, okay.
He threw it to the quarterback.
My bad. My bad and my mistake. Yeah, it was a quarterback for Southern University that did an option and rolled out to his right.
Caught one.
Caught one for necessary yardage for the first down to keep the drive alive. Option again.
Here's Hicks.
No force, no field.
Manigault, and still on his feet. Bounces off and tackles and gets inside the 40 to the 38. And it's a 1st and 10 for South Carolina State. Brian Bolton finally making the stop defensively for Jackson State, and Hicks is running with abandon today.
Watch the blocking on the line of scrimmage. Good blocking
Watch
here.
number 34 lay a block right here.
Manigault, good block here, but again, no force, no field, no containment. As a result, Michael Hicks has been running rampantly all day in Jackson State's territory.
He gains more yards.
Good block again. Hear it again. Boom, right there.
That's the fullback, Manigault.
On Picasso. 1st down and 10. Ball at the 38-yard line of Jackson State.
The 1st down situation, South Carolina State 6. Jackson State has not gained a 1st down today. Manigault again on the carry. First time he's actually carried the ball this afternoon. It is 2nd down and 6 after a gain of 4. 42 seconds, the time remaining here in the 1st quarter. 7-0 South Carolina State. They beat Charleston Southern 44 to 10. They held the Charleston Southern to 109 total offensive yards. Wide open. Should be there. No, just a little bit too far. Intended for Freddie Solomon. Good throw, though, by the strong arm of the quarterback, Marvin Marshall, who many criticized for not being a passing-type quarterback, but he proved he could lay it out there just a little bit too far because Solomon had his defender beat.
Both defenders, the safety and the corner, as he splits the middle there. Ball a bit big, thrown by Marvin Marshall. Again, it was set up on the fake of the option, faded back, hurled one down the middle to the pole, incomplete, brings up a 3rd down and 6 situation.
Coach Jeffrey said we might even throw it on 1st down because they can play the run. They're running back in the game now. It is Mackey. Mackey at the 5-yard line, brought down at the 4. 1st and goal, South Carolina State. Mackey, Antonio Mackey, senior from Columbia, South Carolina. You talking about a bevy of backs. They've used 3 in this game already.
Get a chance to see Marcy here.
30 yards on the run.
Sprint draw. No force, again, no field. Good blocking downfield by the tight end. And the young man does it basically on his own as he scampers the ball. Antonio Mackey for 34 yards. 1st down and goal. Ball is resting inside the 5-yard line, making 1st and goal from the 4-yard line.
And Mackey is the up back in the eye, replacing Manigault. And it's the end of the 1st quarter. And when we come back, the 2nd quarter will be first coming. But more importantly for the Bulldog fans, their team will have the ball 1st down and goal right inside the 5 of Jackson State. Here as we start the 2nd quarter, let's take a quick look at the Mid-East and Athletic Conference standings. You've got Florida A&M. Well, if you add today's game, they go 1-1 in the conference. They lost to Howard. Final score in that one was 32-13. So Howard starts out in fine fashion. their first conference game. They go to 4-0 overall. And you look at the rest of it. North Carolina A&T, they'll have a game at Liberty this afternoon. Of course, this game here, Bethune-Cookman that's playing Delaware State. And Morgan State is off this weekend. That's the way it stands right now. But right now, as we start the second quarter, we've got South Carolina State threatening. First down and goal at the 4-yard line.
Everybody.
5-yard line.
Mamas, daddies, babies.
Oh, yeah. This is a happening. It's more than a football game. It's an event.
No question. Culmination of Indiana Black
And it's something
Expo.
for everybody. I mean, there were the Dells here last night.
Dramatics.
There were Dramatics and
Chuck Jackson.
Shabba Ranks. And somebody else didn't have any rank.
No rank at all.
George Clip.
Option.
Marshall to the
Oh,
1-yard
dang.
line. And he's finally brought down by Benji Johnson, along with Marlo Perry. Let's look at the first quarter stats. Second and goal. There it is. Jackson State has yet to gain a first down in the game. And there's the passing yards. South Carolina State 3 yards, but they at least complete a pass. But more importantly, they have the ball, they have the clock, they have the score, and they're threatening to score again on second and goal. Hicks over the top for 6. His second touchdown of the day. From 1 yard out.
Get a chance to watch it again on the 1-yard line. Power blocking up front. Lead blocker, there's Hicks, up and over, just like in the backyard. For the second score of the evening for Hicks. Score now, 13-0. PAT forthcoming. Michael Hicks with his second touchdown of the evening.
Matt Young for the point after, going for number 15 of the year. No good. He missed it. So he's missed 2 this year. So it's 13-0. We'll see how that looms later in the game. That drive started at their own 33. That's a 67-yard drive. The big play was a 30-yard run by Mackey in that drive.
Antonio Mackey helping his Bulldogs to get within the territory of Jackson State, culminating with the 1-yard dive.
So the last 2 touchdowns, or last 2 possessions, have ended in touchdowns for South Carolina State. Let's look back over the Circle City Classic. Of course, last year, Alabama State losing to Central State 91. It was Alcorn and Howard, Grambling, and Alabama A&M. That was the last second ball. It was Dexter Pitcher caught that one. Jackson State over Bethune-Cookman, 1989. Van U and Jackson State in a 10-10 tie back in 1988. And we go back to 1987. Of course, Mississippi Valley over, well, make that 86. Central State and Florida A&M. Central State 41-3. Mississippi Valley, without Jerry Rice, beat Tennessee State 28-13. And the year before, with Jerry Rice, it was 48-36 over Grambling.
Without Will Rice, they still won.
Jackson State, Marshawn Osmer slung down
Hicks
at the 15-yard line, 16 by the Mr. Everything today. Hicks,
yes, he's doing
playing
it
special
all,
teams
man.
and everything.
Train killer, headhunter, ball carrier, pass receiver. He may be playing some quarterback later on.
10 play, 66-yard drive, 4:05 off the clock on that last drive. So Jackson State with the ball offensively at their own 16-yard line has a first down and 10. They keep it on the ground. Arnold on the carry for a couple. To about the 18. William Arnold, Jr. out of Atlanta's Banneker High.
Harold Spann, linebacker for South Carolina State, playing the right side. Good job.
He's from Monk's Corner.
From where?
Monk's Corner, South Carolina, Berkeley High.
I love you too. Here's the ball carrier coming off. William Arnold, the third.
That's the first time we've seen him today. Hampton had started. Hampton is back in there. Number 29, the lone setback behind the quarterback, Ricky Jordan. 3 seconds left on this 25-second clock. They get it off. Here's Hampton. runs over one of his own men. He killed one of his blockers. I think it was Burrell or Terry Ross, the right tackle. But he gets out to the 20-yard line. No, not quite to the 20. Jonathan Giles.
Watch the job here that Giles does as he scrapes off the blocker.
Yeah,
boom.
56. Yeah,
and he
Terry Ross
takes a would-be blocker out along with the ball carrier for virtually no yardage gained at all. Bring up a third down in about 7 situation. Dictating a pass. Jackson has not been able to, they have been able to throw the ball, but not the necessary yardage, and haven't been able to run that effectively.
Ricky Jordan, plenty of time, drills it down the middle, and he's really crunched at the 34-yard line, but he held on for a first down.
James Hester.
Boy, you talk about hits.
The train killer.
Put that in the highlight reel.
No question. And the whole stand, I mean, everybody in the stadium was waiting to see if he was going to be separated from the ball. Good job here by the quarterback, Ricky Jordan. Scrambles around, buys time. Finally finds a wide open receiver here. Boom! Fine job as it shows it again on the diamond vision here in the stadium. 1st and 10. This
Straight
might
ahead.
get things going for Jackson. Another
And
first down.
down on the run straight ahead by Carlos Knight, freshman from Provine High in Jackson. So Coach Carson has used a number of running backs today. He's used 3 tailbacks so far.
Coach Johnny Mack, one of the coordinators, told me he was going to have everybody fired up today. By the way, he wanted me to wish his wife well along with his niece. So hello from Coach Johnny Mack.
John McKenzie, former quarterback, who's the offensive coordinator for Jackson State. Coach Carson said, that's why I hired him, because I know he can throw the ball. We got a lot of
premature movement.
Well, let's see. Did the defense make contact, or did he get back?
I don't think contact was made the way I see it from here,
Well,
Charlie.
if contact was not made, then it's going to be legal procedure against
Jackson State, correct.
Call offsides against South Carolina.
Contact was made. That's why I'm up here.
Left side of the screen.
Get a chance to see it again.
Or right side.
I don't see any contact at all. Now, I wasn't wrong.
The center centered the ball.
Yes,
that was smart. Okay.
That was the big job.
So the man who moved was the center. If he centers the ball, there's no legal procedure.
Not at all, because he can't go till he starts.
That's right. Nobody else moves. He's the only one that knows the count.
That's the truth. That's the truth.
Maybe the center made up his own count, right? 1st and 5.
Well, they got it a long 4 then. Doesn't look like it's half the distance.
Back to passes. Jordan again. Plenty of time.
Wide open! I don't believe it! Touchdown! Look at it!
Rashawn Osmer.
Breakdown by the defense for South Carolina State. Rashawn Osmer. I'm ready to leave the booth, Charlie. Give me my parachute. Had to be a breakdown in communication defensively. Rashawn Osmer.
You know what? No, normally when that happens, the quarterback doesn't even see a guy that's wide open.
Correct. But again, alertly enough, here it is. Play action fake. Quarterback Ricky Jordan. He buys some time. He sees LaShawn wide open. He couldn't believe it either.
I like the dance. I got to learn that one.
The last 5 yards. Hook up, hook up, hook up. He should have been on video soul last night.
No question.
Uh-oh.
And they do not get the point after. Well, we're seeing some offense.
Extra point flop.
Let's watch the reaction to Osmer. Look at him.
Hook up, hook up.
Is he having fun?
Hook up. Yes, he.
13-6. We'll be back. Osmer doing his thing in the end zone. Let's watch Ricky Jordan, who throws his 5th touchdown pass of the year.
Charlie,
Osmer on his 2nd touchdown reception.
Charlie, normally in a case like that, you know, most wide receivers that wide open will miss the ball.
I was going to say, I'm glad he didn't drop it.
I am too.
That was a 5-play, 84-yard drive, and it culminated with a 48-yard pass to Osmer. They used 3:01 off the clock, and Jackson State is on the board. Each team has missed an extra point here today.
For LaShawn's health, I'm glad he didn't, because Coach Carson probably would have broke his leg.
I'm glad George saw him.
Yes.
Because he was the only one that saw him.
Yes.
Nobody,
Yes,
the others 50,000 people in here didn't see him.
Their best offensive thrust to date.
From the 12-yard line on the return for South Carolina State is Dalen Albritton. Albritton out to the 30-yard line.
Good return on the return kickoff team by South Carolina State. Defensively now to make the stop for him, one of the trained killers, Darius Hopkins.
There's Osmer, Lasar.
Good-looking kid, too.
Young man from past Christan.
Past Christan, down on the coast near Gulfport.
Past Christan, Mississippi. There's an injured Bulldog of South Carolina State down. We'll take a timeout. 11-17 left second quarter. 7-point game. We'll be back. Number 6 there is Kevin Pope, who walked off under his own power. And, of course, here's the score today. Howard University in Green Stadium in Washington, D.C. They're on a roll. They're 4-0. Going back to last year, they've won 5-6 straight, I believe, or 6 of the last 7. And, of course, we'll see Florida A&M in our next game. That'll be October 30th down in the Citrus Bowl in Orlando, Florida. They take on Morgan State in a Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference matchup. First and 10 at the 31, South Carolina State.
Bad news.
Under pressure.
Closed his eyes.
Marshall.
Oh, wide open tight end.
Tight end Kelly Craig. Craig still on his feet. Dumped down at the 38-yard line by Picasso Nelson. I'm sorry, that was not Nelson on the stop. That was, yes it was, Picasso Nelson.
Lucky sevens.
But more importantly, that's the first pass that the tight end has caught this year for South Carolina State.
Charlie Fernando Smith had to close his eyes. He missed. Boom. He missed Marshall. Marshall scrambles around. Looks down to the left sideline. Kelly Craig wide open. He's got a lot of room to run. Nifty running. Advance the ball into Jackson State's territory. First down and 10 at the 37-yard line of Jackson State.
A 32-yard completion to Kelly Craig out of Winsboro, South Carolina. And let me tell you, that's his first reception of the year.
Fernando had to close his eyes, Charlie. And if he would have hit Marvin Marshall with the thrust he had, they'd have been still scraping him up off the AstroTurf right around the 24-yard line.
Well, the chains are all tangled up on the sideline. That's what the holdup is. Check some other scores. Hampton had a big win today over Johnson C. Smith. And they continue to impress. They beat Grambling a week ago. Howard, who had a big win last week in a real barn burner out in St. Louis over Alcorn, 38-36, comes away with a big win today over the FAMU. They've had 2 big tests.
Hampton's on a roll.
Yes, they are. They're unbeaten.
Uh-oh.
Look like a mix-up.
Breakdown in communication.
Quarterback still on his feet.
Nimble. Boom. Nimble.
And gets out of bounds, loses about 3 or 4 yards, but I'll tell you, he didn't get murdered like he should have.
No, for the second time successive, Charlie. But I tell you what, speed, quickness, and agility would do that. He's got two things that can't be taught. He's got avoidability and escapability. Here's the breakdown. He's looking for it to go the other way. The backs are out to the right. There's 1 missed tackle, 2 missed tackles, and finally gets out of bounds unscathed. Bring up a second down and 13. Ball at the 40-yard line.
They lead it 13-6.
Sprint draw, wide open all day. All day.
That's it back. He'll go. He's gone 40 yards. His third touchdown of the day.
The Hicks Show.
What I liked about the run more than anything was once he got into the secondary, his vision. That he was able to see the whole field and cut back to the right, and after that, there was nobody between him and the goal line right here.
Sprint draw again, Charlie. Good block, a good kick out on the defensive end on the right side. As you mentioned, once he got in the secondary, everything had moved to the right defensively. He broke it back to the other side, took it into the end zone, virtually untouched. Fine yards, 40-yard scamper by Michael Hicks. It's the Michael Hicks Show.
And that was set up by the 32-yard pass to Kelly Craig. Matt Young, who missed the last PAT, will attempt his second of the afternoon. This one is good. And it's It's a 20-6 ball game, South Carolina State.
Watch the blocking at the point of attack. South Carolina State has been sharp. Here it is. Boom. The defense is nowhere on the field, seemingly. Good job by Hicks. He got into the secondary, broke it back to the right side, and does a little nifty dance. He said, if LaShawn can dance, I can dance too. South Carolina State on top of Jackson, 20-6.
A 69-yard drive. We'll be back.
Down scamper by Michael Hicks. Caught Jackson State in a blitz. That's why we didn't see him. It's a sprint draw. Get a chance to see it again. All Jackson State men are blitzing. And watch the two fine blocks on the men on the circle. Here's the blocks. Fine blocks there. Michael Hicks is between both linebackers. He's off to the races once he cleared the linebackers. Defensive back were in man-to-man coverage on the receivers. Good job by the receivers and shadow checking the defensive backs.
Kelly Craig, the tight end, did a good job of shadowing his man. That allowed Hicks to get into the end zone unscathed.
Short end over end kick
by Matt Young. That'll come down to one of the up men at the 21-22-yard line. The flag goes down. You know, you got to think about maybe, and I'm not trying to make excuses because we've got a long time to go in this game.
I can use one right now,
But Jackson State, as we look at that last drive, 3 plays, 69 yards. They used up 1:12 off the clock. They had a long trip to get here. They actually flew, believe it or not, but they bussed for 3 hours from Jackson to New Orleans to get on an airplane to change in Houston, which stopped in St. Louis before they got here.
On the blue.
That was the old plan that Coach Jeffries gave him, to take the Northwest Passage by the Overland stage.
I think he booked them. Coach Jeffries must have booked the passage for Jackson State, because they could have flown directly out of Jackson, or they could have bussed here in as much time as it took them to fly. In fact, the state troopers
beat them here driving.
Drove up here and beat them here, and they flew. So at 11, and they hadn't been to sleep. Let me say this: they left Jackson at 1 o'clock Friday morning, or midnight Thursday night. So they've been up since Wednesday, and they've been up all day Thursday. Got on the bus, rode 3 hours to New Orleans Friday morning. They finally got here at noon yesterday. They had to get here, go to lunch, practice, meeting. They're tired.
Yeah,
I'm tired of saying it.
Yeah, I know you are.
I'm tired talking about it. Timeout talk called by South Carolina State.
Jet lag, bus lag, canoe ride, and overland stage trail tired. So, again,
there's the total yards,
lopsided.
Over 100 plus yards for South Carolina State, and total yards over Jackson State. South Carolina State a week ago was held to 98 yards. Well, that won't happen today.
Not today in yardage, Charlie, but the game is a long ways from being over. We still have 10 minutes and 6 seconds remaining in this, the second quarter, and Jackson State could be rejuvenated in the second half.
Well, they're going to have to be. The Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis, the site of this one, this 10th annual Circle City Classic. Nowhere to run for the running back, Hampton.
Mr. Cook, nope.
Kershaw Callaway. They're just pinning their ears back and going.
Yes, they are,
But
we've
had, with the exception of the first scoring drive, which was a 43-yarder, all of the drives have been over 60 yards, 65 yards, 67-yard drive on the Hicks 1-yard run. Jackson State came back with an 84-yard drive, and now Hicks with the second score, or third score in the afternoon. That was a 69-yard drive. It is second down and 12 for Jackson State. Back to pass.
Fumble!
Jackson State recovers at the 13.
Again, no blocking at the line of scrimmage at the point of attack. South Carolina State, 2 plays in a row, had men in the backfield that were untouched. The first one by Kershaw Callaway. Get a chance to watch it again. Blocking breaks down here. As he starts to scramble, Mr. Cook.
Got a hold of it.
Yes, he did. Almost recovered there by
Mumford.
Joe Mumford. Jackson State lucky there. 10 yards loss on the play.
3rd and 18.
Well, 8 yards on the play. Dictating a pass.
Look at Mumford faking the blitz. Then he drops off.
Got some time.
Throws in the middle. Wide open is Pate.
First down.
Pate has the first down.
By 2 yards. Good job by the blocking lineman then. The up front man for Ricky Jordan gave him time to spot a wide open Ernest Pate, his second catch of the day. His first one in the same pattern over the post. Off the middle, a dig pattern. Get a chance to see the blocking here. One man scrapes off, helps another man. There it is. Good job by Ricky spotting Pate. Pate across the middle. Finally brought down after the first down yardage was gained.
Pate, senior, 4.5 40 speed out of Florida, Mississippi. Bliss in motion. And they hand off again to the second back through. That's Knight, and Knight is close to a first down. It'll be second and about a yard. Stopped at the 44-yard line, just shy of the 44. There's Knight, freshman.
This happened again, Charlie. The big play that kept the drive alive. Ricky Jordan hitting Ernest Pate across the middle for first down yardage. The next play, the ball was ran by number 30. Again, Carlos Knight. Knight almost picks up another first down, bring it second down and 1 at Jackson State's 44-yard line. Movement against the offensive lineman, number 79, I believe, for Jackson State. The down lineman is Keith Collins, Antonio Moore.
Get ball. Ball start. Offense.
You know, we're talking about Coach Carson, and we look at the movement here.
Playing the right tackle there.
Coach Carson was talking about the fact that he spent 27 years as an assistant coach before finally getting a head coaching job. He said the hardest thing for him to get used to was all these press conferences and meeting the media and all that. He said he didn't get a chance to coach anymore.
The duties of a head coach. I want you to tell the audience about the job that Coach Jordan has. Yeah, as athletic director now.
Pressure on the quarterback. Ricky Jordan, who's not as mobile as he would normally be.
Patrick Scott.
Because of an injury, severe injury he suffered a year ago, and he still has his right knee heavily bandaged. So, and he walks and runs with a noticeable limp.
Illegal receiver downfield then on the scramble by Jordan, but you had a chance to see number 14, the young man who applied the pressure, in the person of Patrick Scott. It was a sack after the ball had been thrown, but true spirit of sportsmanship.
Any other was down the field. Offense. Decline. Third down.
The true spirit of sportsmanship still looms high in these college games. Great gesture there by number 14, Patrick Scott, in helping up the quarterback, Ricky Jordan. Third down, we'll call it about 6. Going for Pate.
He has first down at the 43 of South Carolina State. Ernest Pate becoming the big receiver today. Came into the game with 18 receptions. He was second in the conference.
Charlie, you made mention the young man who's quarterbacking, Ricky Jordan, is not as mobile as he'd like to be. He's wearing a brace on his right leg. Suffered in a contest last year against Alcorn State University. Re-injured it playing against Mississippi Valley State University this year in a contest. And as you mentioned, he's not as mobile as he'd like to be because he's deadly, both running the ball as well as passing.
Keeping it on the ground, back to the line of scrimmage, and that's it. On the offense for Jackson State.
Maurice Hampton, the ball carrier.
It'll bring up a second down and 10. Jackson State started the season with a 24-12 win over Tuskegee. As you look at Willie Jeffries, they beat Tennessee State 24-18. They led 21-0. Came up with 4 interceptions in that game. Nelson had 2. They lost to Florida A&M 41-19. They allowed 386 yards. They threw 3 interceptions in that game before tying Mississippi Valley a week ago. Intercepted. Right. He had one in return for a touchdown last week. He's still on his feet. Needs a block. They say the ground maybe caused it. What hijinks we had here. First turnover of the ball game. But right. And as an injured player down for Jackson State.
Ball a bit underthrown. fine enough job just getting rid of the ball. He scrambles around. He put it a little too much trajectory on it. If he'd thrown it on the line, it may have gotten behind Wright. Wright does a good job screening off the would-be receiver. Number 6, LaShawn Ashmer, does a fine job in advancing it back upfield, picking up blocking, and coming up to make the stop was the intended receiver. The ball was fumbled there, but as Charlie mentioned, the ground cannot cause a fumble. The ball is retained by South Carolina State. First down and 10.
If you look at Arthur Wright, his second interception this year, he returned one 26 yards last week for a touchdown. That was their only touchdown against Southern University. And he picks this one up. This is Isaiah. No, it can't be. I was going to say Isaiah Bliss, but
it may be LaShawn Ashmer.
8 or 6. We'll be back. Charlie Neal, there's the Tiger. They're still attending to the Jackson State player who's down at the 30-yard line. Let's check out the SWAC standings. In the meantime, Alcorn State is on top with a 3-0 record, 3-1 overall, followed by Southern University, who has a date with Mississippi Valley this evening. Texas Southern, which is coming off of a big loss a week ago. They're 1-1 in the conference, 1-3 overall. There's Mississippi Valley. They have 2 wins. They're 0-1-1. They have a tie against Jackson State, which occurred last week. And Grambling 0-1, 1-2 overall. Alabama State is winless, as is Prairie View. Alabama State is idle this week. Texas Southern taking on Knoxville College. Sam Houston is at Alcorn. Southern plays Valley, and Prairie View's at Grambling.
This doesn't look good.
No, it doesn't. Richard Alvarado is the
tight end,
young man who is shaken up. Sophomore out of Bowling, Alabama. We wish him the best.
Yes, we do.
We'll be back. We don't like to see that. Injury to number 82, Alvarado, after the interception.
He's going for the fumble ball, or what would be a fumble, but it wasn't a fumble. He dives down. It may be a neck, Charlie.
We don't like to speculate on things
Not
like
at all,
that.
but the way he dove into the pile, and it may be a neck or a shoulder injury. And we wish him all the luck in the world. And Kraft, it's only just a sting. As you mentioned, Charlie, we don't want to speculate.
Let's look at it one more time. In the meantime,
got a chance to see the young man in the red blazer, which is Dr. Andy Anderson, who's been the team physician for eons. A great guy, a great friend of Jackson State University, and a terrifically great guy.
in the meantime, as they take care of him, let's talk about these two teams in some other light. Of course, both of these teams have a number of players that are active in the NFL right now. South Carolina State has 4 players who are active. Jackson State has 12. And 4 players from South Carolina State. One that will always come to my mind is a young man named Barney Bussey. We saw him as a freshman 10 years ago when we started doing games here on BET. In fact, he played in the first ever game on BET. He's with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Dwayne Harper, defensive back. 14 years ago. I'm sorry. I said 10 years ago. This is 10 Circle City Classic.
Correct.
Getting the two events confused. Dwayne Harper with Seattle, defensive back. Orlando Brown with Cleveland, offensive lineman, and Robert Porcher, first-round draft choice with the Detroit Lions right now, who was at South Carolina State. They are active players from South Carolina State. The young men that are active from Jackson State: Jimmy Smith, Chris Burkett, Darian Connor, Houston Hoover, Lewis Tillman, Jackie Slater, Tim Barnett, Paul McJulian, Reggie Davidson, Robert State, Lester Holmes, and Antonius Kimbrough. We have 4 offensive linemen, 2 running backs, a linebacker, 4 wide receivers, and a punter in the NFL. Paul McJulian is the punter. For 4 straight years, Jackson State has had a wide receiver drafted into the NFL. And right now they probably have more active players than any predominantly black school in the NFL. Not more players that have played in the NFL, but more players that are active at this particular time. Let's look at some other conference stats while we again wait the removal of this young man. You notice they brought the stiff board out not to do much in terms of flexing his body. And they brought the stretcher. SIAC, of course, looks this way. You've got Albany State. We'll see them later on in the year against Fort Valley. And they are 2-0 overall in the conference, rather. 4-0 overall, followed by Fort Valley, who was 1-0. Albany State's playing Morehouse today. Valdosta State's playing Clark. Tuskegee's. Well, that was last week, rather. Let's go back to today. Alabama's Birmingham is playing Miles. Albany State is at Tuskegee. That's what's happening today. Savannah State, of course, we see the rest of the stats there. Miles, Clark, Atlanta have not won at all this year. 20-6 is our score. Halloween is early, isn't it? Down, too big for the intended pass receiver to tight end Kelly Craig.
Holding. Offense. Replay it down.
Might have been Greg Middleton, number 64. Let's watch.
There he is on the left side. He gets a handful of jersey, 2 hands full of jersey on Perry. Charlie mentioned, ball a bit too big for the intended receiver, the tight end. 15-yarder. Bring up first down at about 25. Jackson State may have some momentum. Sprint draw again. Best they played that today.
Was stopped after a gain of 1. Fernando Smith.
Big fella.
David Holly, DJ, told me to say hello to his folks.
Fernando out of Flint, Michigan, home stater, senior, 6'6", 284 pounds. About 3 yards. Second down and 22. Man-to-man being deployed here. They may be disguising it.
The pitch back to Hicks, trying to turn the corner. Good defensive play on the far side of the field.
Jarvis Knott.
Davis Knott, senior out of Brandon, Mississippi.
They're playing the outside sweeps and runs much better this last series. The option was played much better. Get a chance to see it on the left side. Defensively, good force, good feel, good containment. And here's the force man, Jarvis Knott, stopping the ball carry after about a yard gain. Third down conversions, 2 for 3 for the Bulldogs of South Carolina State. They're 28% coming into the game in third down conversions. A lot of flags, some missed movement, thrown out to the flat, intended for Quincy Miller, incomplete. Good job by Quincy giving up the body. Marshall said, which way should I get up? When I get up, which way should I be facing? Looked like he was on a merry-go-round down on the ground. He was studded so hard his jersey came out of his pants. Here's the offside being committed there by number 98, David D.J. Holland. There's ball, Holly.
Right, ineligible. On offense. Offside. Defense.
Nullifies.
Replay.
Replay.
So they had an offsides, they had an ineligible downfield, and they get the play over. Here's a penalty situation. South Carolina State has been penalized twice today. Jackson State 3 times. In the penalty department, Jackson State, South Carolina State rather, had been averaging 8 yards of penalties, 11 a game, and 94 yards, while Jackson State in penalties averaging 9 a game, 99 yards, 10 yards per penalty. That's coming into today's contest. Third and long. And again, Hicks gets the call, and he's out across the 25 to the 27. It'll bring up fourth down. The clock stops or continues to roll. It's under 3 minutes to go. And a punting situation for Tim Holmes. This is the first time in the last 4 possessions that South Carolina State has not scored. The first time that they punted in the last 4 possessions. They punted their first 2, scored the last 3. Holmes is on.
Good job, had to adjust for the snap from center.
Great punt. Turns over. Good downfield tackling by Joe Mumford on the return man. After a 40-yard punt, Ernest Pate had nowhere to go. Flag is down, though.
Maybe a clip on number 44. Warren Gavin, who blocked Joe Mumford into the return man.
Illegal use of hands against Jackson State. Now to move the ball back, so instead of getting it at the 32-yard line, let's watch it.
He was being pushed right there by number 44 into the return man.
So he made Mumford look like a hero.
Block in the back, above the way, 15 yards.
The $1 million shoulder pad man.
Ball will be spotted at the 16-yard line. South Carolina State on defense. Jackson State threw an interception as they were driving into Jackson State territory the last time they had the ball.
Interception by Arthur Wright, which was a play where the injury occurred to Richard Alvarado. We do wish him all the prayers and success in the world, and prayer if it's not as serious as we thought it to be.
Bliss is the man in motion. Bester is the lone setback. Back to pass. Ricky Jordan to Pate. Still on his feet. Didn't get out of bounds. Clock continues to run. He's across the 30. Has the first down or close to it at the 32-yard line.
Nifty move. Be real close, Charlie. Again, Ricky Jordan firing a down and out or O-cut or a short out pattern to Ernest Pate. Necessary yardage gained. Nifty job of advancing the ball up the field after the catch by Ernest Pate to get the first down.
There's a time remaining under 2 minutes to go. Remember, Jackson has all of its timeouts left. South Carolina State has none. Mumford easing up to the line. Here comes the blitz. He just got caught in the nick of time. They're still chasing him. Craig James is chasing the quarterback. Here comes Scott. Scott gets him and loses yards back inside the 30 to the 28.
What is he doing now? Giving him the business?
Patrick Scott on the stop of the quarterback, Ricky Jordan.
Patrick Scott, defensive back senior at 6'5", a linebacker type at 235 out of Durham, North Carolina.
This young man was the most improved player on the team a year ago.
Get a chance to see it again. There's Joe Mumford. Martha Reeves and the Vandellas, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. He decides to scramble upfield. You can see that gimp on that right leg. Scott coming up to make the stop.
2nd and 14.
4-yard loss on the play.
1:04 left to go in the first half.
No pressure right now.
Throwing for Bliss. Intercepted. Second interception today thrown by Ricky Jordan. This time it is picked off by Richard Dickerson, and we have a flag. Dickerson with the interception, the senior out of Huger, South Carolina. Former punter. So the second turnover for Jackson State. Coming into the game, they had turned the ball over a total of 10 times. They have 2 in this game.
Fine job. Good drop by Richard Dickerson. Defensive back. Right
Illegal block in the back, 10 yards, first down.
This was on the return, an illegal block in the back. And nevertheless, Jackson State will wind up on defense.
Maybe an ill-advised pass. A lot of traffic there in the middle. 2 receivers, 3 defensive backs, and a linebacker who tried to force it in. Intercepted by South Carolina State.
So their last 2 possessions have ended in interceptions.
Wide open.
Here's a tight end out for Ford, and Ford is out of bounds, and that stops the clock. Woody was really pounced out that time. So that's 2 passes been completed to the tight ends today. The first time this year they completed a pass to the tight ends. So Craig has caught 1. Ford has caught 1.
Tight end over from the left side. Motion to the left. Made the defense come to the right. Wide open. Ford. Here's a hit by Picasso Nelson. Pow, right into the van.
Had him playing tuba.
1st and 10. This may be giving the quarterback a lot of confidence, completing as many passes today.
Nothing doing that time for the running back, Michael Hicks.
Line defense.
Again, Javis Knott is there.
Coach Jeffries
Lost a couple of yards. Spike the ball, Coach Jeffries is saying.
Stop the
19
clock.
seconds. He needs to stop the clock. He wants to get his field goal unit on the field. See, the pro, these college officials, you know, they look at that and say, what's going on? They do that in the pros all. There's the stats on Michael Hicks. 132 yards, Jackson State rushing yards, total 17.
And all those yards have been gained by number 30, the young man in the person of Carlos Knight.
Hicks.
Hicks 40 yards, but
he had a 40-yard run, 40 of those 132 for a touchdown. It is third down. Well, they're a little out of field goal range.
Some perhaps go to the end zone, out of bounds near the sideline. Going for it all up top. This should be picked off.
Out of bounds, incomplete. It stops the clock. Bullhorns and everything flying over there. Cheerleaders, footballs, officials.
Otha Evans Jr. on the defense there. Sure, the field goal kicker will come out.
5 seconds to go. This will be a 37-yard field goal attempt by Matt Young. His longest is 43. Make that a 47-yard field goal attempt.
Blocked to be returned.
This is Picasso Nelson.
Do something exciting, Picasso.
And the time runs out. The half ends and a flag is thrown, but it shouldn't matter. That's the end of the first half.
Unless it's defensively. Unless it's a defensive penalty. It cannot end on a defensive penalty. Look like it may be a defensive penalty by the conferring with the referees grouped up right around the
Let's see who blocked it.
16-yard line. Here's the snap. Good snap, good hold.
Late hit. They get it on the kickoff.
They'll reinforce it on the kickoff to start the second half. As they go to halftime, we have a 20-6 ball game. South Carolina State in the driver's seat right now. And we'll be back with halftime activities in a moment. It's halftime. I'm Charlie Neal, and welcome back. 20-6 is our halftime score. The Bulldogs of South Carolina State are out in front of Jackson State at this particular time. In fact, South Carolina State drew first blood. Of course, Hicks has had a big first half, over 100 yards rushing for South Carolina State. He had a 2-yard run that made it 7-0. That was set up by a poor punt by Jackson State that completed a 43-yard drive. Hicks then came back on a 1-yard run. He missed the extra point. That made it 13-0, and of course it capped a 67-yard drive. The extra point was no good. MEAC, a 30-yard run in that drive that helped set up the touchdown, and then Jackson State finally getting on the board as Ricky Jordan finally threw a 48-yard pass to Osmer. Osmer takes it in, and it's the extra point is missed. 13-6 at that particular point. 5-play, 84-yard drive, and then South Carolina State on its third straight possession scored again with Hicks on a 40-yard run, and that made it 20-6, and that's the way we stand at halftime. And one person who's with me right now who has to be happy with what's going on down on the field with South Carolina State is their president, Dr. Barbara Haddon, who is the first female president at South Carolina State. Again, I think you've done a lot for the women's movement, Dr. Haddon, and a lot of people are very happy to see you in that position. We'd like to say congratulations.
Thank you so very much.
This is our first time having an opportunity to talk to you. Let's talk a little bit about your position at South Carolina State and what it means, not only in terms of historically black colleges, but the fact that they've recognized a lady such as yourself to head such a fine institution.
Well, I represent a window of opportunity for my institution and for institutions like mine. This is a great time in the history of historically black colleges and universities, a time for us to get ready for our second centuries of service. And I'm just simply a window on that opportunity that our institutions are facing at this time.
Or do we see, in a lot of times questions are asked, that a lot of our black youth are starting to come back to our historically black colleges?
Yes, we're facing that same kind of growth and expansion in our own programs and on our own campus. And I think it's because we really do take the responsibility to open doors for our students. And we are not afraid to carry out that responsibility and to own up to it.
When you look at what's happening and the growth of historically black colleges overall, and let's talk about South Carolina State. What do you have in the plans as far as future growth?
Well, we're looking at a 20-year master plan just adopted on our campus last spring by our Board of Trustees, calling for a great expansion of our institution, moving from the present 5,000 enrollment to 8,000 enrollment in Orangeburg, and looking at branch campuses. We're also trying to expand our programs, infusing our curriculum with technology, and promoting the arts at the same time. It's
you've got
twin direction.
You've got your hands full. When you talk about ladies in your position, other than Dr. Spikes at Southern University, anywhere else?
Oh yes, there are quite a few trailblazers. There's Johnetta Cole at Spelman. There's Gloria Scott at Bennett.
Well, we're talking about now, these are female colleges, but let's talk about these football powerhouses.
I don't think there are many at these football powerhouses. You're absolutely right, sir.
Are you a sports enthusiast, Doc?
Yes, I am. In fact, I've just been up in the box calling plays, but please don't tell our coach.
I was going to say, a lot of coaches don't like their presidents to get involved with calling plays.
Oh, no.
Well, it's such a pleasure meeting you. This is our first chance that we've had an opportunity to talk to you, and it's such a pleasure having you here with us at halftime.
Thank you for the opportunity to meet your fans.
All right, Dr. Barbara Hatton, president of South Carolina State. And so speaking of South Carolina State, they have a fine marching band. They're called the Marching 101 under the direction of Dr. Sargent. They're down on the field. They're performing right now. Their dancing ladies are called the Champagne Dancers. Let's go down and watch the South Carolina State Marching 101. They're actually 180 strong. We'll be back.
As the second hand moves on the clock, the band would like you to know what time it is. It's Marching 101. Y'all ready, baby? Ready? for the finale of this halftime entertainment. Features the most popular song in America. Please give it up for the vote singing ABC and 1, 2, 3.
See, there comes a time in every man's life when he's got to fall in love, and he's got to find the right one. I think I found it in you. Woke up this morning to hear the sea from the south, and the eggs I got smile. Girl, I gotta tell you, you're just too good for me. See the way that you do, makes it easy loving you. Even the blind man can see. So, every night I get down on my knees and the things that you do, for me I'm good, but
State Marching Band, the Marching 101. We'll be back. We'll look at the Jackson State Band with the Prancing J sets when we return. Annapolis, you just saw the South Carolina State Marching 101 being accompanied by Levert. Do their thing now. The sonic boom of the South. They're 168 strong under the direction of Dr. Lewis Liddell Sr. They have 3 drum majors, actually 4, along with the prancing J-Sets, the sonic boom of the South, the Jackson State University marching band.
And aggressive showmanship. And now synchronize your program dial and focus for attention, because you're about to observe the pinnacle in showmanship with an exclusive show it's filled with continuity, balance, flexibility, systematic planning, and relevance. Jackson State University proudly presents the epitome of excellence, the quintessence of contemporary
Well, there was Levert with South Carolina State, and we get even bigger. Men at large with Jackson State. The sonic boom of the South, the marching Jackson State University Marching Band under the direction of Dr. Liddell, and we'll be back. More halftime activities in just a moment.
To the tick-tock, you don't stop. You put a can in your hand and just pop the top. Hey, yo, Chris, what's up, love? What's that in your hand? It's an S to the P-R-I-T-E. Can understand the course, Chris. Drink the crazy, crazy twist of unexpectedness that you should never miss. So what's your name? Daddy, M-A-C. And what you drink? S-P-R-I-T-E. Cause it's a lifesaver when you need thirst. Quenching like a kiss with the lime and twist. Now you know that's chicken. Word. So drink up is what you gotta do. Why? Cause I like the Sprite in you.
Fly. That's the word, my brothers. Fly. Soar where the eagles don't go. Expand your points of view. It's what you think, how you look, and what you do. Fly guys use S-Curl texturizer for men. It brings out your natural wave pattern the way you want, or any style you want. It's what's in your head and what's on top. It's aiming high and getting your props. Don't be content with ground zero. Fly.
Slow Jam with Ramsey Lewis tonight when Video Soul premieres his latest groove. Monday at 1 and 9.
Take a ride down the road tonight.
It was over 20 years ago when I first walked into Pop Davis's photo shop. By the time I got to college, I knew I wanted to be a photographer. Today, thanks in part to assignments to do commercial photography for General Motors, I'm living my dream.
General Motors, we never forget who's driving.
Thing a big joke, or do you really expect these Jamaicans to qualify?
Sometimes it's not about winning.
You have no business here, Jamaica.
Sometimes it's not about losing.
They've got to get into that SWAC.
Sometimes it's only about making the attempt.
Just trying to be the best I can be.
Inspired by the true story of the first Jamaican bobsled team.
Watch out, world, the Jamaicans are coming.
20-6, second half about to get underway. Let's check out some first half statistics. The first down department, South Carolina State has the edge there, and in rushing yards and in total yards, 227 to 141. Also third down conversions there. The penalties, not a lot in the game, 7 between the two teams, but Jackson State turned the ball over 2 straight times on interceptions, but a decided edge, almost 11 minutes in time of possession for South Carolina State. Individual stats, Craig with a reception. They completed 2 passes today, 1 to Craig, 1 to Ford, 32 and 17 yards. Pate has 5 receptions for Jackson State for 81 yards. Osmer 1 for 48. And in the rushing department, Hicks, 19 carries, 132 of the rushing yards for South Carolina State. Jackson State, Knight with 22 yards and Hampton with 8. Checking out the stats, or highlights rather.
Get a chance to watch the first highlights reviewed. South Carolina State opened up with a precision executed onside kick. Kick was recovered by Kelly Pope. Here's the first touchdown of the 10th anniversary. Option handoff from quarterback Marshall to Michael Hicks. 2-yard option touchdown. Second touchdown continues with the Michael Hicks score. 1 yard up and over. Dive for the touchdown. Point after touchdown was missed. Here was the first score for Jackson State University. Jordan scrambles and hit a wide open LaShawn Asmer for the score. Score then was 13-6. Here's Marshall scrambling, hit his tight end, number 83, Kelly Craig, who advanced the ball upfield over Jackson State's 50-yard line for valuable yardage. And here comes the third touchdown. Good blocking provided there for the young man who's had a tremendous first half, 132 yards on 19 carries and 3 touchdowns, Michael Hicks. And the score ended up a lopsided 20-6. South Carolina State over Jackson State. We're waiting the second half kickoff.
And the penalty that ended the first half on the personal foul against South Carolina State will be assessed on this kickoff. So Jackson State will kick off from midfield, the 50-yard line, and it'll probably go out of the end zone. So we probably won't see much of a return. More than likely, South Carolina State will get the ball 1st and 10 at their own 20. Is Nayland Albritton along with Freddie Solomon of the deep men to receive The kick by Oliver Dean, number 11, junior out of Decatur, Georgia. You see him there. The only extra point attempt he has attempted today was bobbled, and they did not get the kick off. It's a high end over end, maybe returned.
Will be.
Freddie Solomon from the 10, 20, 25, 30, 35, still on his feet at the 40, dances out of bounds at the 45-yard line.
Our director asked sort of solemnly before the ball was kicked, would we kick an onside kick, and the way Freddie Solomon brought it up, I wouldn't have even kicked it. Fine job here by Freddie Solomon. Watch the wedge. The kick return team. There's a gaping hole there, and Freddie hits it in full throttle. Nifty move here, breaks it back to the outside. The kicker missed. He tries to do a little do-dab stepping there, but got out of bounds at the 45-yard line of South Carolina State, where they'll take over first down and 10.
42-yard return for Freddie Solomon. On first down, here's Hicks with 3 touchdowns already. Bounces to the outside, still on his feet, and finally run out of bounds by Otha Evans, number 10, on the stop defensively. Talking about the kickoff return by Freddie Solomon, 15.3 yards per kickoff return. That was his longest. That 42-yard or 43-yarder previous was 19. It is second down and 6 after a 4 rather, after a 6-yard gain by the running back Hicks.
You know, we know that Michael Hicks had a sensational first half, but is he that good, Charlie? Has that the blocking and the tackling for Jackson?
Well, the blocking is
blocking for South Carolina.
Plus, he's a talented runner.
No question. Toss to Hicks.
He makes things happen. He has speed, and again, he's bumped out of bounds on a near sideline by Evans, and it'll bring up third down and inches. Here's Evans, freshman, Decatur, Georgia. 2 straight plays he's had to make the tackle.
Secondary is leading all tacklers with the tackles, primarily because the ball carriers has broken deep into the secondary most of the day. Outstanding running game displayed by the running backs of South Carolina State.
Manigault is the up back in the eye. Hicks, first down, finally hit down by number 91, and that is Brian Bolton.
First and 10.
Along with Benji Johnson.
Right in your living room, if you got popcorn there, hold him. Here he comes. Shoulders parallel to the line of scrimmage, straight ahead, knees pumping. First down yardage gain. Ball in Jackson State's territory at Jackson State's 42-yard line. Come out in the high formation.
On the option, the pitch back to Hicks. Turns the corner, gets a block, and almost another first down. About 9 yards on the run. Got a good block from Manigault, the fullback.
Again, the best way to defend this option is you got to have penetration on the side. Watch the right side defensively, left side defensively. No penetration at all. Here's the force man, but now Manigault, good block there, kick out on the force man. And Hicks doing what he's been doing best all day is advancing the ball upfield.
He's en route to a 200-yard day.
Plus.
If he keeps this up. And here's Hicks still running. Flag is down after a gain of a first down. The most yards rushing in a Circle City game was 164 by Terry Morrow of Central State against FAMU back in 1986.
Good blocking here at the point of attack, and it's virtually hard to stop Hicks from advancing the ball, particularly if there's no defensive penetration at all.
Offense, please raise it down.
One of the worst things that have been committed by South Carolina State all day are a couple of penalties. Other than that, they've played nearly a flawless game.
So to bring up a 2nd and 10 after the penalty, even though he had gained the first down, the ball is spotted back at the 42-yard line. 2nd and 10. Quincy Miller goes into a slot to the left side. Solomon is out far to the left. On 2nd and long. Back to pass. Marshall throws, has a man wide open. Intercepted by Picasso Nelson. Nelson out to the 41-yard line. First turnover of the day. Off to the tip off the intended receiver, Quincy Miller.
Good eyes, Charlie. Again, receiver was open, bit overthrown. Good coverage. Linebacker had good depth. Get a chance to watch it again. Semi rollout to his left, sets up, no hurry, no pressure. Ball overthrown. There's the tip there by the intended receiver, number 5, Quincy Miller. On the spot, painter, artist, expertise in the secondary, Picasso Nelson with the interception. His 4th interception this season.
They had driven down
21-yard return
to the Jackson State territory. And they keep the ball on the ground from their own 41-yard line. Jackson State on the carry. So the penalty again forced them into a passing situation, which turned into an interception, as Hampton was the ball carrier on that last one. Here's
no
Hampton
huddle
again. And
they probably get procedure.
They're going to get a flag, and Hampton has a first down, goes out of bounds on the far sideline. Let me just say this, for those of you who watched the long delay in the first half because of the injury to Alvarado, the word is that he jammed his neck. He was not unconscious, and that he is okay. So that's good news.
God bless us. Tremendous. Here they go with
Let's watch this.
Get a chance to see it. They're not set actually when the ball was
That's
snapped.
what happened.
They weren't set. Otherwise, it was a good play, but they had to deploy a bit of patience. It was almost an unbalanced line, which it was, and the quarterback got the ball and tossed it out to the running back, number 29, who carried the ball, Maurice Hampton, for first down yardage, but again, illegal procedure. Second down and about 12.
By the way, for Marshall, that was only his 3rd interception he's thrown this year. Blitz being shown by Mumford.
Good pickup.
Overthrown. Intended for Osmer. He ran it out on right. And Osmer was short. The ball was long by Ricky Jordan.
Even had Osmer been open, I don't think he would have had an opportunity to catch it. It was a bit big for not only the receiver, but the defender as well. Bring up a 3rd down and 12 situation.
Jackson State's 3rd appearance in this Circle City Classic. 10-10 tie against FAMU in '88. 27-7 went over Bethune-Cookman in '89. They're tied with Central State for the most appearances in this annual classic. Back to pass again. Throwing long again. Caught by Osmer. Right, trying to bring him down, and finally does at the 4. The ball comes loose. They're going to call a fumble, and it's being brought back upfield by the same man who stripped it. On the right. Boy, what a play.
Would you believe it? Outstanding throw and catch combination. Pass from Ricky Jordan to Osmer, who had beaten Wright. Artie Wright goes to sleep. He hasn't recognized the ball at all. He just gives up. With a little separation there, Osmer gets the ball. He doesn't have it tucked well. And with the strength of Artie Wright, he wrestles it down, but I don't know if his knee had touched down. It should have been a blown dead ball. Officials say no. Live ball. He picks it up. He advances it back up to the 21-yard line. Well, South Carolina State will have it first down and 10. Artie Wright, another big play by the secondary man. It's the show.
And Hicks, a first down to the 32-yard line. A gain of 11 for the young man who is very close to breaking the record of rushing yards here in the Circle City Classic.
What's the point of attack here? Here it is, a misdirection, 2 pulling guards, no force at all, no penetration on the right side of the offensive line by Jackson State's left side defensively. And Michael Hicks, 165 on 24 carries.
Now he can go for the attempts. 35 is the rushing attempts. He's 11 away from that. He's already broken the rushing record in this Circle City Classic by 1 yard. He picks up a couple more on that run. It'll be second down and about 8. Make it 2nd and 9.
He's a bit winded, I think. He's pointing to the sideline.
Yeah,
Give me a break, man. Please, Coach. I'll run 20 extra gases Monday if you give me a break now.
That's a season for some people.
Indeed it is.
Gain of 1 on the last play. It'll be second down. And coming into the lineup is Antonio Mackey in the tailback spot. He's played fullback and tailback today. Madigal into the secondary.
Oh, look out!
Still on his feet.
Picasso!
Madigal. Inside the 40 to the 36-yard line, and South Carolina State has turned it up. They're putting the pressure on. Miscues as a 30-yard run there by Aaron Manigault. His longest previous run this year was a 21-yarder.
Watch the line of scrimmage. Watch the line play, because this is where the game is won today, right in the pit. Good job by the up front 5 men for South Carolina State. A broken tackle here, tripped up here by Picasso, and number 90 downfield. A good job by Fernando Smith. A lot of shabby tackling here by Jackson State. And Manigault advanced the ball over the 50-yard line. There's a timeout, 11 minutes to go. Jackson State calls the timeout, which is very deserving.
Prancing J sets, they performed at halftime. And we'll take a timeout. 11 minutes remaining, third quarter, and South Carolina State threatening once again. They lead it by 2 touchdowns.
The Nukes on hand here at the 10th annual Circle City Classic.
What is a Nuke?
Yo-Yo Fratsky, some brothers of Kappa Alpha Psi. The other colors here are represented as well.
Let me just say this. I think I made a mistake on Picasso Nelson. I said that was his 3rd interception of the year. That was his 4th. In fact, he had 2 against Tennessee State. 1 he ran back for a touchdown. So he has 4 to his credit. It is 1st down and 10 now, South Carolina State. And back in the lineup before being brought down by Fernando Smith is Michael Hicks. A gain of a couple to the 32-yard line, 33. Everything he's touched today has turned to gold.
He has, Charlie.
All positive yards in the rushing department.
Phenomenal game. This may be Coach Jeffrey's 1st out of 6 on BET, huh?
Well, wow. He hasn't won since he's been at South Carolina State on BET. He won when he was at Howard.
Correct. Option.
Mixed up.
First time we've called his name today.
Marlo Perry.
The first time outside when you say he's going to the Senior Bowl.
Marlo Perry. Tied for Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference tackle lead coming in.
Well, what's the difference, Charlie? They're playing defense on the other side of the line of scrimmage. That will nullify any option, any cutback, any lead play, or whatever. Good job by the defense. There's another man that's down.
And we're not sure of the number of the person. As you look at Marlo Perry, here's a young man who was a candidate for the Dick Butkus Award, which goes to the outstanding linebacker in college football every year. That was his 2nd sack of the day.
Charlie, they've got to be tired. Again, as you mentioned early on, we're not trying to lay the fault on the score being 20-6 on the trip that was taken by Jackson State. You penetrated the trip from Jackson to New Orleans to Houston to Dallas, and from there and to Indianapolis. Get a chance to see some other scores for the day.
Virginia State goes to 4-0 in the conference. 5-0 overall. Bethune-Cookman loses to Delaware State. Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference matchup. Delaware State now their first conference win. 55. They're 3-1 overall. Savannah State goes with a big win over Morehouse. Savannah State, their record now 3-0-1, 3-1-1. Benji Johnson, the man shaken up, and he's coming up. There's the defense being drawn up for offense for Jackson State, as the offensive line coach Carl Roberts, a former outstanding player in the SWAC, who's now the offensive line coach at Jackson State.
I'd like to say congratulations to Coach Leonis Wagner's wife. He told me at the pregame warm-up that his wife is pregnant. So congratulations and think healthy, sweetheart.
All right, Ned Bailey's mother, offensive line coach of South Carolina State, her birthday tomorrow. She's down in Savannah, Georgia watching. We want to say happy birthday to you, Mom. Marshall back to pass. Rolling right. Stops, throws, caught by the tight end. Craig. Billy Craig, and it'll be 3rd down and inches. Well, that was 3rd down. It'll be 4th down and inches.
3rd reception by the tight ends today. You know, Charlie, this has to...
No, they get the 1st down.
This has to be, well, he had got the 1st down and he come back after the hit. But this has to add a bit of confidence to the throwing of quarterback Marvin Marshall.
Now, there's where the 1st down marker is. He just manages to get it. Boy,
it's close.
They got a good spot, didn't they?
Did they?
Craig,
yeah,
220-pound sophomore.
That was a South Carolina State spot. Good job, however, by the official. I'm being good to you guys. First down and 10 at the 30-yard line. South Carolina State threatening.
Manigault brought down by Brian Bolton. Brian Bolton fighting off the blocks, doing a good job. David Blanchard up front.
It is Manigault who's been the blocking horse basically today for the Michael Hicks show. He advanced the ball over the 25-yard line, marked at the 23-yard line, about a 3-yard gain. Memphis, Tennessee. Bolton.
Manigault again. Marlo Perry is there on the back. He gets help from the front from Lloyd Connor, number 43, and also Brian Bolton. So it was a blue jersey effort that time. This is the current drive that started back at their own 41. 8 plays, 57 yards. It consumed 4 minutes off the clock.
Wide open.
Quincy Miller at the 10, out of bounds. First and goal. South Carolina State. So Quincy Miller picks up a reception. That is his 3rd reception of the year. Good for 12 and a first down.
This is what makes the pass so well open. The running game that's been provided by Hicks and Manigault. Play action pass. You freeze the linebackers as they come up for run support, and as a result, you slip it out into a play pass. First down and 10, first and goal at the 10-yard line for South Carolina State as they're threatened again with 7 minutes and 56 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter.
The pitch to Hicks, turning the corner, cuts it back, still fighting to the 6-7 yard line. Again, to reiterate what we said about Richard Alvarado, the young man who was injured earlier in the first half of the game, number 82 from Jackson State. He will be all right. He will likely be released from the hospital, they said, in a couple hours. They're saying right now it's a preliminary neck sprain. The doctors are x-raying to determine the exact injury. He does have movement. He is walking. He is conscious.
Hallelujah. That's good news. Thank God.
Second down.
Option.
Wide open. Touchdown. Marvin Marshall. And for Marshall, that is his 3rd rushing touchdown this year.
From 8 yards out. The option being displayed here, deployed. Excellent, good block again by Manigault, who's been a tremendous blocker all day. A nemesis for the Jackson State would-be tacklers as he escorts number 1, Marvin Marshall, into the end zone for the first score of the 3rd quarter. PAT forthcoming. Matt Young to attempt.
And it is good. And we'll be back.
Are you ready?
Clem Barney here. 7:12 remaining 3rd quarter. 27-6 is the score. Marshall with the 7-yard run. Of course, that was set up by the fumble recovery by Wright after he stripped the ball from Osmer down inside the 10-yard line. Matt Young set to kick it off. Osmer is the deep man.
Will not be run back.
2 yards deep. He takes it out
anyway. Didn't listen.
And he gets out to about the 15, and that's it.
Didn't listen. His up backing block says let's keep it in the end zone, but to no avail. The ball is brought out by the return man, William Arnold III, number 5.
The last 3 possessions for Jackson State have ended in a turnover. 2 before halftime that were intercepted, and a fumble here in the third quarter. And their time of possession has been very little. Just over 10 minutes in this game.
Turnovers has plagued the offensive thrust for Jackson State today. Not to say a fine defense that has nullified their offense by South Carolina State.
Ricky Jordan has to pass now, but he won't get this one off because he's going to be sacked by number 85, Melvin Spaulding, senior from Alachua, Florida, Santa Fe High. He comes up with another sack. Last year he had 3 sacks. This is his 3rd of this year.
First time we've called Spaulding's name today. He played a whale of a game last week versus Southern. He come up with a sack. Ball is moved back 7 yards. A 7-yard loss on the sack by Spaulding. Bring up a 2nd down and 17.
Different type of defense you can play when the team is behind by 21 points, knowing they got to pass.
Sit back and wait type of defense.
They're still trying to get William Arnold loose, but he gets back to the 11-yard line, a gain of a couple. It'll be 3rd down. 3rd and 15. Here's Joe Mumford, who had almost a career-ending injury a year ago. Actually, 2 years ago. In 91 against Jackson State, the same team. Didn't play last year.
The force there. Defense has played an outstanding game against the lackluster offense of Jackson State. Going for the big one. Could be picked off again. Took his eyes off it, sort of short-armed it. Number 47, who's had an interception today as well as a fumble recovery. Arthur Wright. Get a chance to see it again if the camera has it. He sort of gave it an alligator arms, a short-armed it. So like some people I know who, when you take them out to dinner, when the check comes, they got the
alligator arm.
Yeah,
they can't get to the
Venus de Milo, no arms at all. Let's see it again. Here it is. Watch his arms, short-armed it. You got to stick them out if you want that skin. Deep in his own end zone. Fine punt.
Great punt to get it out of there.
Get some coverage
Quincy
now.
Miller on the return. Quincy Miller still on his feet. Quincy Miller out of bounds inside the 30 at the 28-yard line. So good field position for South Carolina State.
Arthur Pearson, defensive back, on the stop. South Carolina State advanced the ball at the 29-yard line of Jackson State. Good return here by the kick return team, punt return team of South Carolina State. Good blocking, nifty running from Mr. Miller. As the ball now is played 1st and 10 at Jackson State's 29-yard line.
That was a net punt of 18 yards, 41 yards on the punt, 23 yards on the return. They have the ball at the 29-yard line. Keep the ball on the ground. They get it inside the 25. I said the 30, the 20, yeah, 29. They get it inside to about the 24. He forgot his mouthpiece. What did he forget there? He's over the side.
He went to get another one. He may have swallowed it. He's been rushing. He's been rushing all day. I tell you, an outstanding rushing game by that young man, Michael Hicks.
Manigault falls down after he couldn't find anywhere to go. He tried to reverse his field but lost his footing and bring up a 3rd down situation. 4:33 left 3rd quarter. I'm Charlie Neal along with Len Barney, and this is the most amazing stat. South Carolina State has held the ball twice as long as Jackson State this afternoon, 26-13 in the time of possession department.
Well, when you look at the giveaway takeaway ratio, Jackson State has given the ball away more times than they've taken it away. So when you don't have the ball, you can't count up time.
Jackson State 13 sacks coming into the game, but not a lot of throwing. A little by Marvin Marshall. Flags are down.
Holding.
And Marshall, we talked about sacks. Well, there's another one.
Certainly is.
Let's see what the flag's about. They're in the holding vicinity. There are 2 flags down. I think one was thrown by the referee, the other by the umpire. So they're both in the holding vicinity. Let's see if we can see it.
Holding.
Number 55 there.
Decline.
55 was holding on number 59 from Jackson State, who was on a blitz. Eric McLemore. Bring up a 4th down. Will they go for the...
Nah, they're going to punt it.
Okay.
Jim tried it.
Holmes on to punt.
Holmes hasn't punted a whole lot today. Only this little
Fake punt.
and they give it to Manigault. He gets through to the 10.
Count up.
He'll score. Manigault from 34 yards.
That's almost the old Boomerooski.
3:30 left, 3rd quarter. Manigault has scored. Watch this. And the fake carried out by Holmes like the ball was over his head.
That's like the old Boomerooski, Charlie, I tell you. Oklahoma did this back when football first started. And it's still fooling people. And that's still fooling people today, I tell you.
That was before Columbus.
Great job. The ball was directly snapped to Aaron Manigault. Good blocking at the point of attack, and he did the rest virtually on his own.
Manigault. And the PAT is good by that Young. 29-yard drive. We'll be back.
Here's the reason that play worked so successfully. Watch the acting. This is acting 405. That's the senior course. And everybody in the backfield, Jackson State on the punt return, thought the ball was snapped over his head. And as a result, Manigault stepped it into the end zone from 29 yards out to make it good. And here's the post-play, the celebration. 43 yards, 42 yards, 34 yards on a 4th down punting situation.
34-yard run. It was a 29-yard drive, but they had the holding penalty, which moved it back. So Manigault has scored, Marshall has scored, and Hicks has scored 3 times. Everything has been on the run today.
Jackson State better watch the trainers. They may start scoring.
The short kick finally bobbled and finally picked up. Jackson State was having its problems. That's Quincy Culberson, who couldn't field the ball, and they'll get the 1st and 10 at their own 21 after a short kick. Jackson State's 3rd possession of the afternoon, or I should say the 2nd half. They started at their own 41. As you look at the scoring drives in 5 quarters, South Carolina State has scored its most points in the 1st half. Jackson State, meanwhile, has scored its most points in the 2nd half and in the 3rd quarter, but they have yet to score in the 3rd quarter here today. South Carolina State has allowed the most points in the 2nd half to its opponents too this year. Here's Cook making the stop on the quarterback, Ricky Jordan.
No blocking for Jackson State's quarterback, Ricky Jordan, a young man of South Carolina State. Number 70 is slowly getting up in the person of Callaway.
Kershaw Callaway. He's limping off.
Anthony Cook's 2nd sack of the evening. 2nd and 12. Zone defense.
Turning the corner is Arnold.
Nothing.
Nowhere to go.
I'm sure we'll start seeing a lot of 2nd and 3rd team players here shortly. 34-6. South Carolina State on top of Jackson State.
2:19 left, 3rd quarter. There's Craig James, number 54, out of Florence, South Carolina. South Carolina State came into the game with 15 sacks.
Jackson State, he's still proud of it. I love you too, brother. We still got hope.
MEAC. South Carolina State number 1 in total defense. Here comes his sack. And is Cook.
Again, for his third sack of the evening, along with young man you just called, number 54, Craig James.
That's Anthony Cook. We talked to him last week after their game with Southern University. He played a whale of a defensive game, even though they lost. 6 sacks by South Carolina State this afternoon. They had 15 rather, coming in.
Here's the breakdown. A lot of penetration there, and here's Cook scraping off a block, or would-be block, I should say, as he catapults Ricky Jordan to the turf.
Almost blocked. Fielded by Freddie Solomon, has a wall. He can get to the outside, but he's knocked down at the 41-yard line. But for the second straight time, after a 47-yard punt, we'll be back. Well, Ricky Jordan may have seen the last of his playing time this afternoon. You're looking at Darryl Asbury Jr. out of Baton Rouge's Southern Lab High.
Fine ball players that emerged from that school.
And he may come in on the next offensive series for Jackson State. He's warming up. Meanwhile, here's
a new quarterback.
Frankie Sanders. The first time we've seen him today, and Russell Thomas is in at quarterback for the Bulldogs. Frankie Sanders started a week ago, had been the starter, third leading rusher in the MEAC. As you look at a young man from Oxon Hill High in Clinton, Maryland, he is 2 for 4 in the passing department this year, has not run the ball at all. He's thrown 2 touchdown passes. On the 2 passes he's completed, they went into the end zone. That's a high percentage. Second down and 5.
Coach Jeff don't like tall quarterbacks. One at 5'9", other at 5'10". Fumble! Turnover.
And the second one today for South Carolina State.
Get a chance to see it. You're going to have these exchange bobbles now. New quarterback, new running back. Look like Marlo Curry, number 50 for Jackson State, recovers the fumble. Turnover occurred at the 40-yard line of Jackson State University. Coach gives him a pat. He realizes and recognizes it. Ball player's not in tune as of yet because you got a new series of them. It's first down and 10 for Jackson State, and Ricky Jordan is still in the ball game at quarterback. Lead. Number 5 on the carry. Big yardage there. William Arnold III. Most productive run thus far today. Ball over the 50-yard line of South Carolina State. Best run of the day, 14 yards. It is good blocking here at the point of attack finally. Fine run. Tackle made by number 37, South Carolina State, James Hester.
Here's Arnold. As into the third quarter, 15 minutes of football left here in the 10th annual Circle City Classic. We come back, first down and 10 for Jackson State. They trail 34-6. Jackson State. This game is getting close to being, and we'll see what Jackson State does. There's still 15 minutes of football, but 34-6 is a 28-point lead by South Carolina State. The biggest margin of victory was 38 points in 1986 in the third Circle City Classic. Central State over Florida A&M, 41-3.
Jackson State is pretty hobbled up. They've been beat up pretty good this year.
Asbury, more mobile quarterback, but he won't get away from number 85 there, Melvin Spalding.
Carrying that ball a bit lethargically.
Asbury, 6'2", 190-pounder. He's a junior. A little more mobile than Jordan, but the results are the same.
He can't slow down unless he's got real nimble feet. He's got to try to outrun Spalding here. He tries to cut back and is finally slammed to the turf for a 2-yard loss, bring up second down and 12.
Now, Bruce Robinson was going to get him. And Spalding didn't. As you look at the third quarter stats, Jackson State held the ball a little longer in that quarter. keeping the ball on the ground with Carlos Knight running, and Knight gets it down to about the 43-yard line, where it'll be 3rd down and 7.
Knight has had an impressive game today. 3 good carries, all for plus yardage. Again, it's not gravy time with 13 minutes and 50 seconds to go, but it's no real contest now, trailing 6-34.
Asbury hit by Mumford, and Mumford got a little help from Scott Tolliver. Going to bring up 4th down.
Roll out all the way. He never looked downfield. He just rolled out and continued to run, so I don't believe it was intended to be a pass at all. Good stick by Mumford.
And Jordan returns to the lineup. They're going to go for it on 4th down. Like we see pass. One lone setback behind the quarterback, and that is Walter Bester, the fullback. Let's see if South Carolina blitzes. Watch Mumford.
And the man,
here he comes. They throw a fade. And it's caught.
Touchdown.
Oh, yes.
Touchdown. Good play. Good call.
Osmer.
Slowly getting up.
From 39 yards. So Ricky Jordan comes back in. He's thrown 2 to Osmer. 39 and 48.
Good protection here. Quick pass. 3-step drop. Coverage being deployed there by number 11. Macy Stevens. Good job. Good catch. Good concentration by LaShawn Osmer for his 2nd catch for a touchdown today.
On for the point after for Jackson State. It's not over yet. Is Oliver Dean, who is 7 for 9 coming into the game. He missed one earlier. This is their 2nd touchdown. Let's see if they can put this one through without a great adventure. It's up, and it is good. 34-13 now in the 4th quarter. 12:46 remaining. Jackson State might make it a good one. We'll be back. We're looking to see if that's a legitimate touchdown. Technically, I don't really think it is. I think his knee is down about the 1-yard line. That's why I was hesitant to call it a touchdown, but the official there says the ball broke the plane, but the knee is down right there, and the ball is really not across the goal line. See? Oh, no, that's not a touchdown.
Yes, it is.
But you'll take it, won't you?
Yes, I will.
I was worried about that.
It was quite close even when we viewed it from the first.
But it wasn't that close. He wasn't in.
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't.
But they would have had a 1st and goal at the 1.
Would you try an onside kick here?
Not yet. Still a lot of time, 12 minutes. But you've got to get the ball back. You've got to stop them on defense and put some points on the board offensively. Freddie Solomon at the 5. Freddie Solomon out to 15 and knocked down at the 19-yard line. The flag will go down.
Unnecessary roughness, perhaps, on the kick coverage team. Good coverage, however.
Jackson State has lost its last 2 appearances on BET. I know you don't like to hear that, man.
Certainly has both homecoming games, too, holding against South Carolina State. Yes, they have.
They were 8-3-1 since '85 on BET, but they lost the last 2 to Texas Southern, and they were all one-pointers. 27-26 to Texas Southern last year, and 21-20 to Southern the year before. They had gone 5 straight wins from 85 to 88.
In the back on the run off. On the run back 10 yards.
That's a good sign there. Jackson State's got them starting off in their own territory about their 8-yard line. So if they can hold here and get the ball back in relatively fine field position, and doesn't look like we're going to see the backup quarterback who had a couple of snaps there from center, Darrell Asbury. That fine throw that we just saw deployed by Ricky Jordan.
Russell Thomas still in at quarterback for South Carolina State. He's the backup quarterback. And and they keep the ball on the ground. This is the third time these two teams have met. Jackson State beat South Carolina State 17-6 in 1991, and then they beat them 41-3 a year ago. That was Antonio Mackey on the last carry.
Our Executive Vice President, Mr. Jeffrey K. Lee, just entered the booth. Throw the roses. Mr. Lee is in the booth. How you doing, Jeffrey? Good to see you, brother.
No, he can't talk on TV. You got to pay him.
But Jeff is the man. He can do what he wants to do.
Yeah, that's true. And out to the 20-yard line with a fine run is Aaron Manigault. Manigault picks up a first down for South Carolina State.
There's a shot of Mr. Jeffrey Lee. Jeffrey, turn around and say hello to the camera, man. Say hello to your audience. Here we go. Yes, Tina's here also.
Someone asked, where's Tina?
His wife is here.
His wife is here. I saw her at the parade. She come running out the street wanting an autograph. I told her $10 she could hear one.
Oh, you're going down on her, man. Good force, good feel. Yeah, your autographs are getting cheaper, Charlie. Or less expensive, I should say. Good force, good feel here by the left side defensively. Linebacker, defensive end, got help from the defensive backs coming up. A loss of about a yard. Bring up second down and 11.
From the 19-yard line with 11 minutes to go in this contest. Straight into the secondary is Manigault for another first down to the 31.
Flag on the play. Dirty laundry's on the turf.
Let's see who this is against. Holding against South Carolina State.
Again, some more continuously. Get a chance to see the holding. Manigault bursting up there. There it is, being deployed against number 59, the linebacker.
Couldn't catch the number of the man who was doing the holding. Here's Manigault.
Eric McLemore was the person being held. Free substitution now being deployed by South Carolina State. Number 23 is into the ball game for the first time, and he's not even on the roster. Total yards last week.
That's Quevin Redding, number 23.
Quevin Redding.
The third time that South Carolina State has turned the ball over.
It's not over yet, but with 10 minutes and 17 seconds, the fat lady's got Listerman in her mouth. She's gargling. Here it is. Quevin Redding. Ball's popped out. Good job. Marlo Curry, Johnny on the spot. Picks it up and dances into the end zone for the 11-yard score. Jackson State now trails 34-19. The PAT forthcoming. They look like they're going for two. Ricky Jordan hobbles out on the field. See, he's beat up.
Marlo Perry had an interception. He returned for 19 yards, not a touchdown earlier this year, but he gets this one back into the end zone. .17 remaining. And now timeout is being called by Jackson State. They have one left, and we'll be back. And now the score to 34-19. We'll be back in a moment. What a difference a day makes. What a difference a week makes for the Bulldogs of South Carolina State. 98 yards last week, 366 yards today in total offense. But they've been in the driver's seat, but a couple of mistakes have hurt them here. And now the two-point conversion attempted by Jackson State. Here's the quarterback. No, he won't get it off. Anthony Cook from the backside.
What a game he's played today defensively. a whale of a game last week versus the Southern Jaguars.
Coca-Cola and BET Sports proudly salutes our Black College Football Player of the Week. And this week's honor goes to Eric Randall of Southern University. He's a quarterback, and he's a sophomore quarterback. He's from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He was 16 of 27 in the passing department a week ago against South Carolina State. Passed for 167 yards and a pair of touchdowns, the last of which proved to be the game winner. He also caught a pass for 11 yards in this game, and for his efforts, he will receive a plaque from Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, always a good call, always Coca-Cola. Congratulations. Here is the reception for him. Eric Randall, quarterback of Southern University, our Coca-Cola Player of the Week.
A plaque and a headache on that play right there. Good job by Southern last week versus the Bulldogs. Different story here today. 10 minutes, 17 seconds remaining. Will we see an onside kick here?
10-17 to go. 13 points, unanswered points in the fourth quarter by Jackson State. Jordan, a 39-yard pass from Oz to Osmer. That was a fourth down play. And then Perry.
11-yard touchdown fumble return for a touchdown.
By Perry.
Had a chance to see that young man fire or post the two-point conversion. That's Benny Johnson with ice on his ankle. Short kick.
Solomon. Still on his feet. Trouble at the 21. Finally stopped by Sean Patton.
Fine coverage by the kick cover team of Jackson State's kickoff coverage team.
Jackson State on defense now. They've forced a couple of turnovers by South Carolina State. The fumble and the interception.
Coach Pete, Coach Carson. Legends at Jackson State University in the coaching department as well as former players.
Actually, 3 turnovers.
Coach Ox Hughes, a young man I played with. Road Dog.
2 fumbles here in the fourth quarter. 2 fumble recoveries, and both leading the scores by Jackson State. At the 21, Mackey on the carry. Marshall is back in at quarterback for South Carolina State. He had given Russell Thomas a chance to play with the 28-point lead, but coach has put his starting lineup back in there. Manigault, 2nd down and 7. Also Michael Hicks is in there. They don't want this one to slip away, he said.
Blitz being deployed by Jackson State.
Here's Hicks and Marlo Perry on the stop. Back to the line of scrimmage. Should be 3rd down and 7.
How close is Hicks on that rushing record? Not the yardage, but the carry record. Got to confer with Mr. Moore, our great statistician. Pass.
Caught at the 35-yard line by...
Guess who?
Hey, he's done it all today. Freddie Solomon. He dropped a couple of weeks ago, but no problems catching him for a first down today.
A couple of your kind. He dropped a bevy of them last week. Passes, punt returns. Good protection here. Good rifle, good throw, good comeback. Good job. Good route there by Freddie Solomon to come back, beat the ball, gain the necessary yardage for first down. Balls at the 36-yard line.
Into the secondary is Manigault, a yard shy of a first down to the 46-yard line. Now it's ball control time for South Carolina State.
I don't believe Freddie Solomon of South Carolina State is related to.
Doesn't even know him. You never heard of him.
49ers Miami Dolphins famed wide receiver Freddie Solomon. Great kick return man as well. Quick feet.
Manigault has 82 yards on 10 carries, averaging 8.2 today. To add to his 137 for the year.
They have a double 100-yard rushes.
Good. 30th carry of the afternoon for that young man. Hicks again. And let's see who came out with it. Jackson State is pointing, but the officials will have the final word.
Maybe anybody's ball. Who's the strongest man on the end of the pile? Look out.
It is
Uh-oh,
Jackson
look
State.
out. Look out. Uh-oh. She better spit that Lavores out of her mouth. She hasn't started gargling yet.
That's the 4th turnover of the day for South Carolina State. And the 3rd straight time they fumbled here in
there it is,
fourth
being
quarter.
pulled out prior to him hitting the ground, and it's an all-out scramble. Jackson State recovers the fumble right at their own 49.5-yard line. We'll call it the 50-yard line, and presumably that's the young man who recovered the fumble.
Fernando
Smith. Fernando, you look marvelous, darling, on that play. You look marvelous.
Ricky Jordan has his team poised. 8:02 to go.
Got time.
And he's using the time he has. He has it complete for first down. Osmer puts his head down and barrels inside the 30 to the 29.
Big playmaker all day today. Pass reception from Ricky Jordan to LaShawn Osmer. Osmer has a pair of touchdowns already. You see him at the top on the right. He's the flanker. Here he is coming back. Smart receiver. Some yardage to run. Nifty move to the right. Outside. Lowers his head. First down.
Arnold on the carry. And Arnold gains yards back to the line of scrimmage. That's it.
You got to deploy the ball the way it's going to travel the fastest, and that's through the air. You're not going to get that much on the ground. South Carolina State's defensive line and linebackers have been quite active all day versus the run. They've got to put it in the air. And the shotgun brings them out, does Ricky Jordan. Deep out.
Has it caught. First down inside the 15. And again, it's Osner on the reception. Bruce Robinson on the stop.
Patrick Gann on the coverage. Deep sideline pattern. He's showing a whole lot of intestinal fortitude. There's Ricky Jordan. He's limping, he's ailing, but yet still been in and out of the game. Look out.
Inside the 10 to the 6-yard line. On the carry is Arnold.
Ricky Jordan came back in after being substituted by number 19.
Asbury.
Daryl Asbury. He came back in and threw a 38-yard touchdown pass to Osmer, and now he's back in the game. He's limping, he's hobbling, but he's moving the troops now. Ball inside the 10-yard line. Make it to 7. Second down and about 4.
In turn the corner was Carlos Knight. Osner has caught 5 passes today for over 100 yards, and Knight is shaken up.
Injury timeout.
On that run, it'll bring up a 3rd down and about 2. A long 2.
Think South Carolina State is not popping out there today?
Oh, they're always been a tough defensive unit.
Yes, sir. All the way back to the great days of the great Deacon Jones.
They rank at or near the top of just about every defensive category in the nation, not just in the MEAC, but in NCAA statistics. 6 minutes and 1 second remaining. We'll take a timeout. 34-19. Jackson State threatening the ball at the 5 of South Carolina State. The man that was shaken up on the play, and we're at the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis, Indiana. In fact, he came off under his own power. This is the current drive after the fumble recovery that started at their own 49-yard line. The 6th play coming up. They've used 2:01 off the clock. 6:01 is the time remaining, and it's a 3rd down and 3 as you look at Carlos Knight. Bester is the up back in the eye. Hampton is the second back. Back to pass. A fade in the corner for Payton. Out of the end zone. Incomplete. 4th down. They'll have to go for it.
Territory ran out.
Covering Macy Stevens defensively for South Carolina State, senior out of McBee, South Carolina. And the quarterback is hobbling again, but Asbury goes on this time.
Again, a lot of intestinal fortitude shown there by Ricky Jordan.
But they didn't bring him out because of an injury. They're just bringing him out because of the situation.
Yes.
Let's see what they call. Bester again is the up back in the eye. This is 4th down and 3. Let's see if they try to get the first down or try to get it all. Asbury. He may have the first down.
First down it is.
That's what they wanted to do with the running type of quarterback that Asbury is. A little more mobile
than that of Ricky Jordan. There's a chance to see it again. Here it is, straight ahead blocking.
They're going to measure. He may have got a bad spot there. Well, forward progress.
Yeah, left foot, right foot. If he spots it with the left foot,
they're going to bring the chains in. I think he has it, but let's see.
Mark with the left foot is first down for South Carolina State. Right foot, it's a first down and goal for Jackson State. Let's see. Watch the chain gang here.
He's got it.
Right. I'm not being too partial to them.
Of course not. Have you ever been?
I love you too.
First and goal. Jackson State with 5:51 remaining. They trail 34-19. Ricky Jordan is in at quarterback. Bester and Hampton are the setbacks behind him. Out of the eye.
45 seconds remaining in this contest. The 10th annual.
And it's pitched to Hampton. Touchdown.
Well,
no.
One official was there with the hand going forward. The other two.
No, he didn't make it. It was close.
Very close. As W.C. Field said, closeness only counts in horseshoes, hand grenades, and slow dancing. Here he is, the lead. Good kick out block there. Good converge there by the linebacker.
He didn't get in
safety. No, he didn't.
Craig James, and Jackson State uses its last. No, this is South Carolina State's timeout. So this will be one for them in the second half. They have 2 left. We'll be back. 5:17 the time left. Quarterback Asbury, who came in.
Watch him. He needs to go with a little more thrust on his verticality here.
You know he's a running type quarterback, so you almost look for him to carry the ball straight up the gut.
But he's got to be a little more dogmatic down here in this territory.
Full house backfield. William Arnold is in there. Hampton's in there. Bester is in there. Let's see who gets it.
Movement. You got 5 more yards to contend with now. The right offensive guard.
That might have been Burrell.
Dead ball. Ball start. Offense.
The right offensive guard today is Terry Ross. It's Terry Ross.
Quarterback of record, Ricky
Jordan. Adams is the right tackle.
Ricky Jordan is back in the ball game.
And he pitches to Arnold. Arnold cuts it in. Stopped at the 2.
4th and goal from the 2-yard line. 4 minutes, 24 seconds and counting remaining. He's a bit upset with himself. Fine job, however,
by the defense of South Carolina State.
Outstanding.
4:15.
Good kick out block there. He takes on 2 men.
More importantly, what is happening, even if South Carolina State gives up a touchdown here, what's more importantly is the time they've allowed or force Jackson State to consume.
Correct.
Straight ahead. Touchdown. The fullback, Bester. His 4th touchdown rushing of the year from 1 yard out. Walter Bester, Jr. from Laurel, Mississippi's Watkins High.
Good job here by Bester, who was the man that led the running back on the play previous to that. William Arnold, he took out 2 men. Here's Bester, the first man in the powerhouse here. He gets the ball. Watch those legs. Keep surging. As men trying to pull him back, he continues to surge forward. They're going to go for 2 points again.
51-yard drive. And this could make it 34-27. They're going to use their last timeout.
25-second clock was running down to 1 second. That's why.
And you see the score. We'll be back. Conversion with 3:53 to go. It's a 34-25 ball game. They can pull to within 7.
It's a
if
big,
they can convert.
It's a big 2-point conversion.
Throws into the end zone. He gets it. Isaiah Bliss for the 2-point conversion.
Will we see an onside kick now, Charlie?
Well, they can't afford to let South Carolina State drive the ball down the field on them.
Good job here. Good blocking at the point of attack. Bester does a great job blocking out 2 men. Good job by Blitz getting out of the crowd there, coming back to the ball that was thrown from Ricky Jordan again. Just a yeoman job by this young man. Number 9, Ricky Jordan.
Remember, with 3 minutes and 30 seconds left in the 3rd quarter, South Carolina State was leading 34-6. And now it's 34-27.
You speak of characters been deployed by Coach Carson and the Jackson State University Fighting Tigers.
And again, a fumble recovery made the difference. So both teams were able to capitalize on the other team's mistakes for the most part. And I know what's going through Coach Jeffrey's mind. The game at FAMU, they were leading 17-7. And in the last 47 seconds, as we look at that last scoring drive that took 11 plays, but more importantly, they had to use a lot of time off the clock, 4:09. And the 2-point conversion is good. Onside kick.
Oh, what?
Jackson has it.
Oh, what?
It was touched by South Carolina State.
Look out.
Bruce Robinson had it. He did not hold on to it.
Melvin
Jackson
Woods
has it back.
Melvin Woods, number 51, recovers the fumble. The fumble on the
There's a
onside
flag
kick.
on the other side of the
It
field.
may not have carried 10 yards. Let's see.
No, it carried 10 yards, I believe. I think what we have is an offside or illegal procedure.
Oh, we declined. I mean, they declined. I'm sorry, audience.
Illegal procedure.
They have to kick it over.
On the receiver. Decline.
Oh, decline.
Oh,
First down.
come on, Charlie. Come on, Charlie.
Well, I'm just trying to give South Carolina State a break.
and I apologize to the listening and viewing audience, but I can't help it. Red, white, and blue blood still runs through my veins.
And that has to count as a turnover.
Yes.
That's the 5th turnover for South Carolina State. And Jackson gets it back at their own 41-yard line, 1st down and 10.
Shotgun deployed by Ricky Jordan.
Jordan back to pass. Has time. Throws. Pate. 1st down at the 44.
Hurriedly, they got to get in the huddle and get out, but they got a timeout right now.
They have plenty of time. 3 minutes and 43 seconds.
I'm getting excited. I got this parachute strapped on me.
They don't have any timeouts left.
Good job. Good blocking here at the point of attack. Fine over-the-head spiral delivered by Ricky Jordan to Ernest Pate.
Dead ball.
Oh.
Unnecessary roughness. Offense.
Oh, what's happening
Come
here?
on, right here, son. Give me 15 yards right there.
Personal foul against Jackson State. Unnecessary roughness.
Who is it?
The last time Jackson State was here in the Hoosier Dome, they came away with a 27-7 to win. And they're going to enforce it from the point of the infraction, not the line of scrimmage. So James Carson.
15-yarder. It's dangerous.
It'll be
1st and 10.
At 11 or 10 yards. So that nullifies the completion. And it's still 1st down. 1st and 10.
From the 41.
The clock is the most important thing for Jackson State right now. They have the ball, which is what they wanted. Well, they have to do something with it. Here comes the blitz. Here comes a screen.
Oh, look out here.
1st down.
Look out here.
Knocked out of bounds by Wright. 1st down at the 32-yard line.
Rejuvenation on the sideline.
And the clock stops with 3:22 to go.
Clock's on their side. That lady hasn't started singing yet, but she's still got the voice. A well-precision engineered screen here. Excellent job of running the ball. It's number 5, William Arnold III. First
John
down and
McKenzie,
10.
who's in the booth next to us on our left, the offensive coordinator, who's calling the plays from up here. It is first down and 10. Jackson State. The ball at the 31-yard line of South Carolina State. It was a 34-6 ball game, South Carolina State. And now Jackson State is rallying. In trouble with the quarterback. Throws it away. The clock stops. More importantly, they did not lose any yards.
Given the Congressional Medal of Honor today as well, Ricky Jordan. I told him during the pregame warm-up I was to tell the world he's the nephew of Michael Jordan, and I said, I'm only kidding. I'm not going to spread a rumor.
He's got his own Jordan to worry about. From the shotgun. Plenty of time. Wide open is Bliss. He needs to get out of it. 32 yards.
Turn me loose, Charlie.
What a comeback.
What a comeback is right, Charlie. Here it is again. Great protection here for Ricky Jordan. What's the nifty move deployed here, Brian?
I was saying get out of bounds.
Out of bounds, too. Excellent play. He died for the goal line.
What a smart play.
Timeout now, South Carolina State.
Now do you go for the two-point conversion or do you go for the tie?
Personally, Charlie, since you're asking me, I would go for the tie. I'll settle for the tie right now. Look, in fact, I'd pay Coach.
Let's watch the ISO on Bliss.
Individual ISO here. Good move.
Lost his
the
man.
defender fell down. Here he is. Now watch the nifty move. Boom. Two men taken out. Thrust for the goal line. Outstanding throw and catch combination from Jordan to Blitz for the touchdown.
Isaiah, the senior from Hazelhurst, Mississippi. Came into the game with 16 catches. That's his third reception for a touchdown this year. He led the team in receptions a year ago with 38. He has 65 career receptions coming in, 13 career touchdowns. He just picked up another one, and he's their top pro prospect as far as the receivers this year.
Big playmaker, Ike Blitz.
That's the score. Remember, 34-6 was the score in the third quarter in favor of South Carolina State. So you see the points, 27 unanswered points by Jackson State.
Who would have thought?
They're going for the two-point conversion. They're going for the win. James Carson says, I don't want a tie.
A tie is like kissing your sister, huh? Tell you what, if you miss it, I'd rather kiss her. I love you too, sisters. Great job defensively. No one was fooled on the left side defensively, particularly that man there, number 14, Patrick Scott. Linebacker had great surge upfield to force Ernest Pate away. Here's a linebacker, almost a hole there on number 68, the pulling guard. Great job.
3:04 remaining, still time. We'll be back. 67 points between the two schools. All four second-half touchdowns, as we look at that last scoring drive by Jackson State, occurred in the fourth quarter. The last two coming 49 seconds apart from the one prior to that with Vester's 2-yard run. As they recovered the onside kick 3 plays later, they were in the end zone. Let's see if they go with the onside kick or they kick it away this time.
Can lightning strike twice?
They're going to let it go down.
Short end over end kick.
Everybody was up on the line. This is Russell Thomas. Watch out of bounds. The clock stops. Thomas is the backup quarterback for South Carolina State, and he returned the kickoff.
Football players is what they want. They're not looking for possessions.
That's right. Can you play the game? That's all we want to know.
Play defensive end if you need to at 150 pounds. We need ball players.
At the 37-yard line, South Carolina State, which has turned the ball over 4 straight times, including not being able to field that kickoff the last time, the onside kick. Marvin Marshall.
The script.
You know, we talked earlier about the route that Jackson State had to take to get here, driving 3 hours on a bus to New Orleans, getting on the plane, flying to Houston, changing, then stopping in St. Louis before getting here. 11 hours later, it took them a half to wake up. after that jet lag, or travel lag, as you might want to call it. A gain of about 3 on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 7. South Carolina State basically wants to hold on to the ball, run the clock down. Remember, Jackson State has no more timeouts left. That's the key right now.
Defense is a must here for Jackson State if they're playing. It's a 3rd down and about 5 here.
This is a very big down for the Bulldogs of South Carolina State. And even though South Carolina State, now this could be, let's hopefully,
a fake.
I don't like to say that, Lil.
I know it, but I mean, there has been fakes pulled off in this manner.
That's right. We're injuries, which are really not injuries.
You know, you talk about Russell Thomas being the quarterback and returning the kickoff, the ensuing kickoff after the touchdown by Jackson State. It reminded me of Coach Bob Hill and Coach Lattimore and Coach Page when I was at Jackson State University. Say, we're not looking for positions, we're looking for ball players.
And while they attend to that young man down on the field, we'll take a timeout. 2 minutes and 4 seconds remaining, and we'll be back.
Get a chance.
This just happened.
Just happened, and as Charlie just said, this may be the nail in the coffin of the straw that broke the camel's back. Number 37 coming up the force, Sean Woodson.
Too late.
Mr. Tackle, yes. First down and 10. Under 2 minutes. It's 1 minute and 29 seconds.
The problem for South Carolina State was they didn't want to stop the clock. But they have a first down, and quarterback Marshall just kneels down. Jackson State cannot stop the clock. They have no more timeouts left. And what a ball game, the way it ended.
The kiss to the sister looks better now, doesn't it? And we would have had at least a few plays by each team, according to
I know Coach Jeffries must have aged another 10 years in the 4th quarter. That happens when you're leading 34-6 and you see your lead evaporate the way it did in this one. Jackson State really came back, and defense was the key. They made some great defensive plays, created some turnovers, returned, made some good big offensive plays. This should be the last play of the ball game. It's a 3rd down situation, but a well-played game by both teams. Jackson State, not much offense generated in the first half, but the second half, 4th quarter basically, Jordan came on strong. Remember, Hicks, who's broken the rushing record here in the Circle City Classic with close to 180 yards. That's it. 17 seconds to go. And Jackson State comes out a loser. South Carolina State. Jackson State has not won in the last 3 outings.
All by 1 point.
They tied last week. We'll be back. Here, and what an exciting ending to this 10th annual Circle City Classic from the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis. There he is, Willie Jeffries, head coach of South Carolina State.
Some of his hair today, too.
I tell you, coaching will make you do that. And they escape with a 1-point victory over the Tigers of Jackson State. They had lost 2 of their last 3 coming in, and so now their record, which was 2-2, goes to 3-2. Meanwhile, Carson, the second-year head coach, whose record was 2-1-1, their record falls to 2-2-1 now. Let's look at some highlights from this particular game. The second half especially was very, very exciting.
Indeed it was, Charlie.
And this is an interception that was tipped off of the hands into the arms of Picasso Nelson. That was his 4th interception of the year. This is second half statistics.
Here's a fumble that's
after the catch.
This is the fumble after the catch, right? A great throw, great catch. LaShawn Asmer, but again,
Now that, I think, probably was the turning point in this ball game in terms of what happened, because when you look at it in retrospect, Lem, they went on and scored a touchdown here on Marshall's 7-yard run. Instead of Jackson State scoring, South Carolina State drove down the field 79 yards.
Correct. This is the fake punt. This was
another
a big play as well.
Certainly was.
Old Boomerooski.
Manigault goes into the end zone 34 yards.
Next play is a 38-yard touchdown play. He comes back in the game for Osmer. And again, it wasn't a touchdown, but the official, because of his view, he ruled it as a touchdown. And here's a fumble that was picked up by Marlo Perry. An 11-yard scamper returned for a touchdown. Bester's 2-yard conversion run. That was good.
34-27. And here's the 2-point conversion to Bliss.
To Ike. Blitz.
Then they had the onside kick, which was bobbled right here.
Recovered
by Bruce Robinson. And Jackson State recovers, and Jordan goes to Isaiah Bliss, and I'm yelling, go out of bounds to stop the clock. He decides to step inside. He saw he knew better what he wanted to do than anybody.
32 yards.
Dives into the end zone. 32-yard touchdown. They missed the 2-point conversion
on the end around. And
34-33 is the way it ended. We'll be back from Indy. 34-33, and of course awards being handed out to the teams here. Marlo Perry got the defensive player of the game for Jackson State, rather. And of course South Carolina State gets the winning trophy. We'll be back in Indianapolis. We'll get a chance to talk to, hopefully, Willie Jeffries, the winning coach, in just a moment. Charlie Neal, Lem Barney back at the Hoosier Dome as we wrap things up here. 34-33, and what an exciting win. And Lem, when you look at those final stats, Jackson State was very lethargic first half. And almost asleep in terms of statistics are concerned, because South Carolina State had a decided edge, and especially in time of possession.
That was a big deciding factor in that first half, Charlie. They had held the ball 26 minutes to 13 minutes over half the period. But you say they were lethargic. Not only lethargic, they wasn't operating with any type of clarity or sharpness, Charlie, and a lot of turnovers. But as a result, they came back. Here are some of the final statistics.
289 rushing yards for South Carolina State. Jackson only 44. But look at the passing yards, 321. So overall, it was pretty even, 365 to 376. Let's look at some of the other stats. Third down conversions. Jackson State did not do a good job there. Penalties, I don't think too much of a factor. Maybe in some situations. But Jackson State started to make a move in terms of time of possession in the second half, especially the fourth quarter, something they didn't do in the first half. And it's a +7 for South Carolina State. Let's go down on the field. Coach Willie Jeffries is down there with us right now. Coach, how are you doing? Charlie Neal and Lem Barney. I know you lost about 2 more hairs and another 10 years, especially in that fourth quarter, didn't you?
Well, yeah, I hope you held my friend Lem in the press box. But it was a great football game, and I think we made it hard for ourselves. We got ahead, and we started fumbling the football, and I must give Jackson State credit. They made a great comeback and made an exciting football game here in this Classic.
You talk about what you did. You made some substitutions late in the game. You brought in Russell Thomas. You brought in Frankie Sanders. Let me just ask you real quickly, why did not Sanders start today?
Michael Hicks was playing ahead of him. He was playing better football, and we started Michael Hicks. But when we fumbled the football, Frankie came in. Michael was tired, and Frankie came into the game. And then when Aaron Manigault had a cramp, we brought in Quevin Redding, and he fumbled, and things just didn't go too well. You know, you instruct your players when you're ahead by 21 or 22 points, and you've got the ball at midfield to hold on to the football, and they simply didn't concentrate and didn't do that. And I give Jackson State credit. They were able to come back. They did an outstanding job. We just had a few more points on them, and I admire Coach Carson for going for the 2. He knows I would have done that. You don't come all the way up here to tie the football game when you have a chance to go for the win.
Well, you talk about Hicks. He did a great job for you today. 32 carries, which is just 3 away from tying the carrying record in the Circle City Classic. He broke the rushing record here. He ran for 188 yards, 3 touchdowns. You had to be pleased with his performance. Your defense has always been strong for you, but like you said, you put yourself in some bad positions. And I know you had to have a bit of a flashback to the Florida A&M game there at the end.
Well, Charlie, I had flashbacks to the Florida A&M game and the Southern game, and I said, I wonder if this can happen to one guy in one particular year and one football team. And our defense toughed it up when they had to. And, of course, we won the football game, but it was a real good game, and we're certainly happy we won.
You know, you came out with a little bit of razzle-dazzle opening kickoff. You surprised everybody.
Yeah,
well, an onside kick.
Yeah, Charlie, Coach Wheeler, George Wheeler was telling me that after the guys, they lined up near the 50, there weren't any other players until we get to the 25-yard line. So we said we will try it, and we came up with a great onside kick, and we didn't turn anything out of that one, but we got Jackson State in the hole, and eventually we were able to score.
And we just saw Hicks with his first touchdown run. It was from 2 yards out. He ran also, went over the top from 1 yard out. And then, of course, Jackson State started to come back, and they messed up on the 2-point conversion. I mean, on the extra point. But then you had a lot of people. I'll tell you, one of the great plays I thought in the game was right when he stripped the young man after he made the pass reception downfield.
That was a great play by Arthur Wright. And what happened to Arthur, he lost the football up in the lights. He could have made a better play before the guy caught the ball. But Arthur decided he had messed up and he had better strip the guy.
Hey, Coach Jeffries, I think another turning point in the game was the Boomerooski that was called on the 4th down punting situation. I think a great job of acting by the punter, and Manigault ran it in for a touchdown.
Yeah,
was that called by Coach Wheeler as well?
Well, yeah, we had decided that we were going to do that rather than go for it on 4th and 14. Marvin Marshall and the guys wanted to go for it, and Wheeler and I said, no, let's go for the fake punt. At least if they stop us, they'll get it on the 30, and we won't be in bad field position.
And instead, you come away with 6 points. That was the most important thing. Now you go up to Baltimore. You play Morgan State. I know it doesn't get any easier. You may have heard Howard beat FAMU today. That score was 32 to something. I don't remember. I think it's 32-13.
Well, as I was telling you, Charlie, Howard has a fine football team, and so does Florida A&M. But they played up in Washington, and of course, we'll congratulate Howard on a great game. And now, at least Florida A&M has lost a game, and Howard is getting into the thick of the schedule.
Now, you'll play Howard where? In Orangeburg?
No, we play them in Washington around November the 6th or 7th.
So that could be the game that decides between them and Delaware State right now, the MEAC race.
Well, probably so, Charlie. It's going to be a close race again, but Howard's going to be the team to beat.
All right, Coach, we wish you a lot of luck, and thank you very much. Okay. And that's Coach Jeffries. We say congratulations to him and his 21st year, his 127th win, and his 5th year since returning to South Carolina State.
His 2nd win since coming back on BET, and his 5th in 5 losses.
Well,
once at Howard on BET.
But he hadn't won since he came.
First at South Carolina State.
Yeah, he finally snapped that jinx. We'd like to thank all of our technicians, engineers, cameramen for a great job, and of course our people in the truck, statisticians, Chiron operators, videotape operators, and everybody who's worked so diligently to make this 10th anniversary of the Circle City Classic a successful one. For Lem Barney and the entire BET sports staff, Charlie Neal saying so long. BET Sports Report returns next Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern right here on BET. We'll see you for another football game October 30th from the Citrus Bowl. And today's game has been brought to you by Coca-Cola. Always good call, always Coca-Cola. And by Campbell's Soup. Campbell's, never underestimate the power of soup. So long.